There is the thing, though, that if you do need something, ask him for it, he'll give it to you. So he's a good reserve of magic.
Hey, so just gotta get my music down low. There we are. Okay, so we're up to game session number 69 for this group. Has been going for quite a while now. They are traveling in a old Sylvan Realm based on an old module called the Tree of Life, dealing with the elven tree created by the god Ilsundal before he became a god, and then bound to all elves, even elves that didn't follow him. Such a nice folk he is, so when the trees die, all the elves die. Even the elves that don't follow him all die.
Oh wow, that's great.
That's such a nice thing for the elves who didn't know that he's done that.
Oh goodness.
And so this story started off with the fact that the trees are now dying. And each of the elven clans had sent their heroes off to investigate many months before you guys showed up to the elven forest and find out what's going on. Then, while you're in the elven forest, Llewell turns out to be representing a clan that's technically dead. So you were quickly banded together as the next clan to be sent off on this quest. Partly because his clan belongs to the original ruling family of the Owls back from their first civilization, where Alfheim is their third civilization.
Mm-hmm.
And Ilsodal was their second civilization.
Yeah.
So you've had to travel to where the second civilization died out and try to find the Tree of Life there.
If we can.
And traveling there, you've found that you've got to collect 12 keys, which are in the shape of coins, and convince the various powers of the forest to assist you, because without the keys you can't gain access to the tree, or even figure out where the tree is. And the tree managed to talk to one of you and tell you that. Unfortunately, with Clarissa not there, her character didn't get much interactions with any of those things while she was away. She was sort of in the background the entire time with Drezel,
Right.
who only spoke up occasionally.
So sad. Sorry, guys.
But we've got 3 of the keys at the moment.
You've managed to get 3 of the keys.
Yep.
You've got a lead on the 4th key.
Yeah, the Griffin key.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you're about to go to war with the Griffins to get the 4th key.
War.
We saddled up.
That doesn't sound pleasant.
Well, when you've got over 100 airborne cavalry flying, that's not a skirmish, that's not a battle, that's literally a war.
Oh yeah.
And we were just flying over to confront the many orcs.
You were planning on flying over and confronting them. You hadn't actually gone and flown yet.
Yeah.
You finished last session resting with the Griffins while they were bringing saddles over and talking about how you were going to go off and do it.
Yep, that was what we're doing.
And that was the recap of what had happened. So I'll get people to introduce their characters again. So we'll start off with Ariadna.
Oh, always grab me when I'm reading up on my notes. It's good.
At least it's not while you're eating, like I'm very good at doing for online players.
So I'm Duke and Cover, Gnomish, Tinkerton, Artificer, Artillerist, Gnome. I make bombs. Lots of bombs. Sparkly bombs, smelly bombs.
And bomb throwers.
Explosive bombs. Yeah, bomb throwers. Basically, if it can be made into a bomb, I do it.
And can also create up to 3 items in a short period of time but if you create more than those 3 previous items you've created, stop functioning.
Okay.
Because they're not permanent items, they are items you've infused. So the hearing aid you've created for the rock will cease to function if you create more than 2 more items.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know this.
Because it was a the equivalent of, I've got some duct tape and some wire and I've rigged up a very basic thing for you, and it's not a permanent item.
Is that something
the major thing is, if it weren't temporary, you'd be enchanting magic items all the time.
And it would take you more than a week to enchant and build.
Is there some way I can permanently do that later?
Yes,
By enchanting them as magic items.
by spending more than a week or so building it.
Okay, yeah. Good.
So-
I'll have to come up with a long-term replacement.
So putting together something in an instant is one of your abilities, but you can only have 3 items at any one time.
Alrighty.
It's a very powerful thing, but it's also a very limiting thing.
Yep. So that's me.
I actually have the sword, but I can't yield it yet, right? Just confirming.
You haven't pulled it out yet because you didn't feel ready, and you heard of what bad things happen to people who pull it out. Just ask Paul about his sword and him pulling it out.
Actually, I actually have the Tablet of the Protector Mystery with Proclamation. I have the medium armor and Champion or Everkind. Is that the boots? I think Champion or Everkind boots.
They should
And
all be on the magical items section. So if you have a
Okay, I'll find it. Thank you.
So have campaign items up there. So you have 4 main things down there with some extra stuff that I haven't actually added out yet.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine.
So next person is Kesley.
I am playing Lonnie. She is a Makai human fighter, former sailor slash muscle of the group. Here for a good time. And now kind of just making sure that she can protect all of her new friends. And
currently one of the most hated people in the party as far as the forest is concerned.
as far as the forest is concerned, she is not welcome here, and she's perfectly understanding of that. She's like, yep, I get it. Not me. I'm just here. I'll beat stuff up for you, and then I'll leave. Cool.
Which
Peace.
comes back to the history of the region that a human wizard destroyed the civilization.
Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of things around here don't like me, so I just don't talk.
She's been rather reserved.
You've always been action over words anyway.
Which then brings us to Jeremy and his character with no name.
Good evening, all. I'm playing an Atruaghin tribesman who has been sent out from the plateau to discover more of the world so that he can come back and bring wisdom, return to the tribe to potentially then lead them as their as a shaman of the combined tribes, according to Atruaghin's plan. As mentioned, he currently has no name because his name was traded away to a dragon of the Feywild, and so at this stage he's simply the tribesman.
Well, the dragon that he was speaking to in the Fey Realm asked him to give him his name, so he gave him his name, and then realized he didn't have a name anymore. Unfortunately, the Fey are finical creatures. We also have online Paul.
Who is Hall, who is the elven pretty boy, warlock, healer, diplomat, all around sort of back up and talky person.
And also descendant of a dead clan, as far as the elves are concerned, of royalty, due to a magic blade he pulled out and sang his name.
Okay. That sounds pretty interesting.
And is also now one of the most hated people in Elfheim.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, because I've thrown their politics out of whack.
Okay.
So he comes. It's imagine saying you've got a long lost heir to the throne,
Yeah.
who has a better claim to the throne than the people there.
Oh, okay.
And so,
But
as
there's no
far
army to back him up.
as most of their lore is concerned,
Yeah.
he comes from a clan that doesn't exist,
Yeah.
and they tell everyone it doesn't exist.
Yep.
And
His
But he
existence
still comes
disproves
to
that.
the potentially a crime totem if someone wanted to start a civil war amongst the elves.
and the biggest kicker for it is he comes from a clan that is not associated with Ilsundul and the Tree of Life.
Oh, okay.
So the clan he comes from is from the first civilization,
Yeah.
and does not fall under Ilsundul's protection.
Oh, well, that got
And
out.
It also means that they won't die out if the trees die.
I know they still
Oh.
die if the trees die.
Oh. Okay.
Oh,
That's what
Okay.
that was what I commented on earlier with Ilsundul. While they may
Okay.
not actually have their own tree, Ilsundul tied the elven people to it.
Mm.
Because, well, he was a god and he thought he knew best.
Yes. This seems like it's got a major flaw in it, considering that the Tree of Life is dying.
Well, it was the point of him becoming a god, was making the tree.
Yeah.
So, mortal logic into god logic, there was a gap, and that was part of the gap.
Okay.
And
So,
then,
if the Tree of Life dies,
Yep.
does he die? Like, as a god?
no one knows.
Oh, okay.
That is actually a very good question.
And if he dies, the tree might die.
Oh.
I could ask you if you
May
like.
or may not be connected.
And I don't think any god would want to admit their frailties.
No,
Yeah.
probably not. So we got Clarissa?
Yeah,
And then we have
I
Clarissa
agree
online.
that he wouldn't say, because that would be open, for example, for someone trying to eliminate a god
Yeah.
by eliminating the thing.
Yep.
And by making all elves think that every elven life force depends on the tree, no elf would want to go against the tree.
Fair enough.
Yes. Which does also, as is presently the problem, give the elves a single point of failure when it comes to existential defense.
Mm-hmm. And when they lost the nation where the tree was planted, that made it even harder.
Mm.
So, then we have Clarissa online as well.
Hi, I'm finally back. So this is Nemaril. She's actually the champion of her clan. Just a second. So she's a worship even well. And she's the champion treaty for the True Life in the clan Longrunner. So now in the third civilization, the clan Longrunner keeps taking care of the tree. And all the people dedicated to protect the tree are called the Knight. The Order of the Tree of Life. And I was a knight, and I was chosen as a champion. And then after I stood my post, or dear Dragonborn friend took me away. And I was spent a long time missing, and my clan couldn't figure out why the tree wouldn't choose a new champion.
Ah.
And the amusing thing is, when you returned home, there was such a kerfuffle that no one even noticed you were there.
Yep. That's an irony.
And plus, you probably didn't want to draw attention to the fact that you'd been missing for such a long time, and you're actually here when you actually got to see the King of the Elves dressed down well. As well as...
Yeah, after my long time away and the many perils and challenges we faced, and after being stuck as a winter fade for too long, which I wasn't happy about in the separate timeline, I came back to the summer fade and I tried to just, observe what was happening.
And so now,
reacquainting myself with the state of the world.
so now you're in what's called the Sylvan Realm, which is the second elven nation. You've had to see a lot of different creatures here that treat humans the same way you would treat orcs or goblins or dwarves.
The same reasoning.
Yeah, the hate of people can be quite bad.
Mm.
And the nation that was founded by Ilsundel is now empty of elves and has actually been overrun by various creatures, as well as still having some of their Fey champions left behind.
So
Okay.
there are still some Fey champions left?
There are still some Fey champions left, like a very bombastic narwhal,
Yep.
a
So
hard,
not champions in the sense that you're thinking of.
a
They're not
hard,
elven champions.
hard of hearing rock, very petty nymph, water nymph.
So they're all different creatures, none of them are elves.
There were at least 7 other groups of elves sent here before you, even one from the Longrunners clan. But no one has any record of what happened to them once they left Alfheim.
Okay.
But yes, each of these champions that have come across so far appear to be the guardians or defenders of one of the keys that we have to of the 12 we have to find.
And you even found what you think was the tree keeper, as well as the tree keeper's house in the city centre. Which Llewell found some rather disturbing things he didn't want to tell anyone else about.
Did they tell a group?
He didn't tell the group at all, but he found some rather disturbing information inside the house.
Oh, his house. Okay.
Yes.
Disturbing mostly to do with the history of the elves, so
So will you tell me?
Technically, he's choosing not to tell the characters, but he could tell you as a player?
He could. So from the player's perspective, he found artifacts dating back to the Kingdom of Blackmoor, which has been wiped from history.
Mm-hmm.
it's actually religiously illegal to talk about it from memory.
It is, and all the elven seers and lawkeepers have a strict rule of removing all references found to it and artifacts discovered belonging to it from the public.
Yep. Which means I'm not allowed to tell you, and even if I did, someone's going to mind wipe.
You know what? I think I know why. I think I know what that means. What was the name of the organization again?
Blackmoor.
Blackmoor.
Blackmoor. It's basically science and high science, which is outlawed among elven culture. So while they're happy for you to play with magic and simple science, they don't want advanced science because it destroyed the world as far as they're concerned and wiped out the first elven civilization. To the point where they locate the first elven civilization roughly near the South Pole. It used to be on the equator.
Wow.
They moved to get really away.
I know the planet shifted out of alignment when
Sorry, planet moved. Right.
the planet changed its rotational spin based on the death of Blackmoor. That's how traumatic an event it is for anyone who actually has historical records.
Yeah.
And the elves have basically said never again.
Probably a fair call.
Wow.
Alright. So we're actually riding some griffins here?
Yes, and so you spent the night resting with some griffins who you managed to talk to with the help of Speak to Animal.
Yep.
And you also came across some pixies who almost poked
Oh, yeah.
people's
Oh, yeah.
eardrums out.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Well, hey, when you're invisible and you can sneak right up to someone, what would you do?
Well,
Maybe not stick an arrow in their eye.
Well, they didn't. They threatened to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they were traveling with the hated humans. Go, Jeremy.
I was going to say, so the griffins, we spoke to the griffins to speak with animals,
Yep.
but they did understand some Elvish, did they?
They did understand Elvish, but they cannot
They couldn't
speak
talk
Elvish.
Elvish at all, could they?
They could not speak it.
But
But they do defer to the elves of the party.
Yep.
So, Lure.
So when we say they understand some Elvish, does that mean that they effectively like if the elves were to give them appropriate commands in battle type stuff, they recognise charge, retreat, delay, that sort of thing?
well, that's something for us to check with them.
I'm asking.
He is asking. So, from the perspective of if you were to say have a set of commands that you would teach an animal, yes, they would understand those words.
Okay.
But they wouldn't understand sentence structure or complex explanations.
It'd be like effectively teaching the dog to
Yeah.
sit or play or guard or all that sort of stuff. But,
Yeah.
So we can teach them that level of training fairly easily, okay?
But they have retained that level of knowledge of elven culture, even though elves haven't been here for longer than any elf has lived.
Yes, it does give me thoughts about making friends with all the various locals and setting this up as a shadow elf homeland because, well, we don't have anywhere else to put it.
Which would be an even bigger slap in the face in the Ilsendal traditions.
Which,
That gives it quite a funny turn.
well, this is the thing. This is where I would actually negotiate with Ilsendal to organise it. Because if he's not happy with it, I'll do something else.
Oh no, I'm just saying from the perspective of the fact that he admitted those clans existing in all his writings.
Yeah.
All his history, all his religion, all his stuff that he's written of, those clans don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Which is fine.
and he stated
if
that
they're
they
here,
don't
that
exist.
can still be true.
Yes, they can be living in his house, the house he built.
Basically. So, look, this is the thing. This is me doing diplomacy on my god. To either to persuade him to allow us to do this, or to ask him for a better solution to give the Shadow Elves some lands that others would accept. Which means I can then go back to the other clans and say, Ilsendal told me to do this, and they can suck it.
So
I believe we've got some work to do before that happens, though.
And go ahead,
Of course.
Clarissa.
It's going to take me 10 levels to do this shit.
we're still gonna try to advocate for the Shadow Elves that are stuck in that Earth version, so they can. Oh, you're talking Shadow Elves here. They're not the same as the Dark Fae we encountered in the past.
No, not quite the same as the Scatton.
The Skadenhalven are a little different. They are an offshoot of the Shadow Elven culture. So, and the Skadenhalven are closest to the Drow because they believe in blood sacrifice as a way of life due to Atzantiotl's teachings.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's all I know about the other Shadow Elves is that a lot of them, or most of them, are followers of Atzantiotl, and I don't like that, and I want to find ones that aren't.
It's okay. It is part of the storyline.
Ways of Oxyotl or Atruaghin.
I gather though that first we need to get a hold of the other 11.
Next time. We have a lot to do before that
Yeah,
happens.
we got
So,
nine.
And
Keys.
also from Nia's perspective, Nari's perspective is that Luell has a moonblade that is older than any other moonblade you've ever heard of.
You can tell that by the sign, by the icons on it when he draws it.
Most rune blades have 1 to 5 runes on them. 5 runes being extremely rare. His has 13 runes on it.
Wow.
And
That puts it into perspective.
and dates back to the royal house of the first elven nation.
which is part of the reason he's potentially a symbol for civil war if and when he decided to go down that pathway.
Which
Yes,
means
there's
that
one.
the blade itself is older than the elven god Ilsendal.
Yep.
Which is another of the things that you put in perspective, going, the sword's older than the god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for us, our plan, we have to make a plan of attack to get inside this fort by a volcano that has quote unquote bad wolfmen, fire dogs, humans, and orcs, along with 8 wyverns surrounding. So we need a plan of attack. With how many griffins do we have?
You
with
have
us?
over 100 around you at the moment when you wake up in the morning.
Okay.
We have a serious attack force.
So I'm thinking if we do a 3 move attack where you have one wall of 30 odd griffins, one wall of 30 odd griffins, and then we can, like, all of us can be in the middle, or what do you guys think?
3 waves with one of us attacking. 3 units with one of us in 1 unit.
The Tribesman puts forward the idea that if they have only, 8 wyverns
Yeah.
there,
Only.
perhaps we can send effectively not exactly a reconnaissance crew, but a feint of say how many what sort of numbers do the griffins normally fly in? About
100.
4 at a time or something?
They normally fly in about 4 to 8.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So if we were to send in, pick the 4 or 6 fastest griffins, send them towards the tower and try and draw off the wyverns.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that you can then ambush the wyverns and take them out.
Yeah.
That would then allow us
Air dominance.
Yep.
That would be. I actually think that might
I
help.
wasn't actually going to say air superiority, but the effect is the same.
Yep.
That would be. I think that's actually a really good plan.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
And you also have the ability to, say, drop rocks from the air above onto emplacements and people below without being able to be shot at.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
the skill you would use for tactics?
Tactics would be intelligence based, so you can use survival for some parts, you can use straight intellect and history for other parts,
Which is
charisma would be your way of actually getting people to follow your directions in actual combat situations.
Yeah.
cool. So if I do a history for a tactical layout, we should be in a good position.
The other something, of course, was that yes, if we were able to effectively remove their wyvern support, that would allow us much more opportunity to do effective recon.
Yes.
Without actually having as long as we stay up above
A certain level.
Yeah.
I agree. 'Cause
600 feet.
they're definitely
So
the
if we
biggest threats. So yeah.
So if we have one of our units harry and distract their wyverns without necessarily actually killing them. Wyverns are not as smart as griffins, as far as I know, and they should be easy enough for the griffins to distract for long enough for us to do our thing.
But these aren't. You're not trying to fool the wyverns. You're trying to fool the wyvern riders.
If we can get the wyverns off the ground before the riders get on them, that's immaterial.
Yeah, well, I would think that
If we can fool them off the ground, they become a non-issue.
But if they're already in flight doing patrols, we're going to need an alternate plan.
And there's always. I think that your potential for having the wyverns fly up from the fort without a rider would be very small.
I did not say that. If we get to the fort, or we can get to the fort with minimal, say, an encounter with a patrol, once we're at the fort, if we can get the wyverns off the ground before any returning patrol or any patrol actually gets up against us, we can get the wyverns off the ground before they can get mounted.
But the wyverns won't leave the ground without a rider.
Yeah.
Tell that to a wyvern who's being pissed off by a griffin.
That's probably tied down or stabled.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an assumption, probably a medium assumption, but I think a wyvern could take off and pull a post out of the ground without much of an issue.
Well, but that's what I'm suggesting, the idea that if you send, as I say, half a dozen griffins, apparently, possibly young wyverns that are thinking they're trying to prove themselves, that the wyverns and the riders believe that they can easily remove or kill or fight off, and it can distract them away from the fortress or pull them away from the fortress somewhat to then get mobbed.
Yeah, we can break combat groups out as well.
Yeah.
Yes, we can do all of this stuff. And if I make a history check to work on aerial combat tactics as a basis for what we're doing, we might get a pretty good result based on baiting wyvern riders out where they can be mobbed by larger groups of griffins.
Because really you're trying to actually fight the orcs, I would expect, rather than the wyverns.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, if we're going to be baiting patrols out, or patrol-sized groups out, we want to get only that many at a time. Because if they send out a dozen wyverns with riders, and we've got 40 griffins in response to each group that comes up, then taking care of wyverns becomes not that hard to do.
Yeah, and the idea that if they were to send out the entire force of wyverns to attack or to follow our group of griffins, and then we can effectively mob them because we've got the rest of the force in reserve off-site, that then means that we're not trying to actually fight wyverns in the air over the top of the fort, which potentially has hundreds of orcs shooting arrows and everything like that at the same time.
So while you're discussing this, I'm going to get each of you to make a perception roll.
Ooh, 26.
A whole 6.
No, 14.
So 14.
Yeah.
Wrong dice.
Yeah, it's the first one I grabbed 11, and I've got to look up my...
What I was getting at is you got the second highest number on the dice.
Right.
You got a D12.
Oh, that's a D12.
Yeah.
That's my D20.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Roll a 4 on D20.
I only rolled 13.
That's worse.
She'll take the 11.
That's a 6.
That's okay. But hey, you got half of what was possible on the other dice.
Yeah.
So, and what did Jeremy get?
The Giantsman got 17.
Okay. So, most of you are having this conversation, are not noticing anything out of the ordinary, and Llewell keeps feeling something poking him in the foot and the ankle.
Pixie.
Oh, I've got something poking you. I will inspect what's poking you.
Seems to be a, you can sort of see what appears to be a pixie poking you with a sword, trying to get your attention. Apparently, he's been tugging on your boot for the last 10 minutes of your conversation.
They'd make great scouts.
I apologise for missing your attempt at your
Attempts.
attention gaining. I apologise for my total lack of comprehension. May I pick you up so we can speak?
He flies up to your shoulder and sits on your shoulder.
That works.
Well, that makes it easier.
He doesn't like to. He doesn't like to be elf-handled.
No, that's fine. I wasn't expecting to, but if I needed to make the offer. So, who do we have the pleasure of speaking with? I'm Thor.
I know who you are. I almost shot you in the eye earlier, he says. I've been keeping an eye on you, even though I almost shot you in the eye, which is quite amusing.
Yes, it is.
And do you remember my name? Did I give you my name? I can't remember if I gave you my name.
You did not give me your name.
I
I was
didn't give
too
you my
involved
name.
in the eye side of things.
Well, I am the clan seer. I
was
see
gonna say,
things and I shoot
does
them.
he look? Well, first of all, can the rest of us see him having flown up to his shoulder, towards his shoulder? Or is
Yes.
he visible?
You can see
Okay.
him
It's not
because
hard. He's 6 inches tall.
he,
Okay, yeah,
he's,
no, okay.
he's the size of a little kitty cat.
Okay, but he might be invisible.
What did he say he was? I didn't hear it because Jeremy spoke.
He says he's the clan seer. He sees things and he shoots it.
But the question I had was that is he the same spokesman that we came across previously?
He is.
Because there was only one that spoke previously.
He is exactly the same spokesman.
Yep.
He is. He just told us so. Or just told me so.
And he says he sees flaws in your plan.
Well, there are going to be flaws. Could you elucidate on what you see as the flaw?
Flaw number 1. There are 11 encampments.
That makes it a bit of an issue, certainly.
Flaw number 2. There are patrols
Okay.
from each encampment, generally from encampment to encampment.
They communicate with each other. Not the best fun.
And he says, flaw number 3. You don't notice invisible things very well.
No, and I take it from that they have some way of becoming invisible.
Oh no, we've been amongst you for the last day, and you haven't noticed us at all.
Well,
Until I started stabbing your foot.
Do we know this pixie's name?
He calls himself Clan Seer.
Okay.
You seem to have good knowledge and understanding of these fortresses. The Griffins were only able to provide somewhat vague information in their interpretation according to what they understood.
He does a raspberry in your direction and says, well, that's because they're as dumb as humans.
Whereas you are the...
And so what was the font of knowledge of a pixie know?
Knows far more than humans do.
Yes, and that's what I'm asking.
Says, well,
You don't have to question. They're magical beings. They're always going to have a higher perception than humans.
Well, plus pixies are really good at perception because they're often archers.
Well, most importantly, as far as their ability to spot them, they're naturally invisible, so it makes them pretty hard to spot.
Well, yeah,
So
they're naturally invisible.
Can I
Plus,
take
they're
it for
good.
receipt?
Yeah, they're used to noticing things.
Yeah, he's currently not invisible. He's currently dropped his invisibility.
Yes.
he says that
Okay.
each of the encampments have over 100 humans in them.
How many encampments are there?
11.
There's 11 encampments. How
Wow.
many humans? How many wyverns?
Each
Well, you tell us the
one
humans. How many wyverns?
each one has up to 12 wyvern.
Right.
Because they send up to 2 to 3 on patrol at a time.
Okay. So as long as we can encounter the wyverns without the rest of the humans, this should be trivial.
And each has a enchanted fire giant
This is seriously not trivial.
with 12 hellhounds.
Okay, that's ground level stuff. We don't have to worry about those guys unless we're on the ground.
Each of the encampment are armed with longbows
Yeah,
and have spears and nets.
yeah. And if we can entice the wyverns and wyvern riders up to where we can get to them out of bow range, they become a non-issue until we want to deal with them.
Did you say enchanted frost giant?
Enchanted fire giant.
Fire giant. Thank you.
Which is why it likes hellhounds.
Yep.
Puppy! Puppy bursts into flames. Give Puppy a big hug.
Warm puppy.
Hey, so, have the Atruaghin clans dealt with the giants much? I don't think they have they?
The giants have no place in the Atruaghin lands, thanks to Atruaghin.
Yeah, 'cause I thought so. So yeah, because as a player, I'm thinking, hang on, why did you say enchanted fire giant as opposed to a normal fire giant? But the guy who doesn't know what a fire giant is probably. So, although I think we might have come across some giants, but.
From what you heard, all the giants had migrated to various places in the regions around Rockholm.
Yeah.
And fire giants being here means that these guys haven't actually left.
Yeah.
So they've always been here.
No, that means they're most likely held captive.
Oh, okay. Yep. So, could we technically free them?
Possibly, but it won't make them your friend.
Okay. Well, that was where I was hoping it would go, but yeah.
But then
it'll make a man not our enemy.
But while they're not your friend, they would be less friends with the people who have been enslaving them.
Okay.
Yes, they'll be on our side. Sorry, they'll be against the bad guys.
They'll be their own side.
Yeah.
Lonnie will speak up and say, "Pardon me, but are the pixies able to get into the fort and dismantle traps or nets and stuff like that?"
They try to avoid the camp because they do have alarms set up around the wyvern to detect invisible creatures.
Okay.
Or it's the wyverns themselves. It's hard to tell, and it just goes off the entire ramble about magic.
Okay, sounds good.
And it all sounds very much superstition instead of factual.
Okay, gotcha.
Do the forts have any way of communicating other than sending wyvern patrols?
How far away are they? They're about 8 miles between each of them, roughly. So if one of them was to send up some sort of smoke signal, it would probably be seen by at least 2 other forts.
Okay.
And at 8 miles away, it wouldn't take that long for wyverns to fly there.
No.
About an hour, he says. The last time they did something to an encampment.
Yeah. So, 8 miles an hour.
Again, that would mean that if we're able to... Sorry, go on.
Seeing all that, being a wizard myself, how many wizards do we think they have?
Oh, he says he has no idea how many wizards they have, but they probably all report to their boss, and I'm sure their boss is not in any of their camps because I've gone through the camps trying to find interesting humans to kill, but they've all been rather uninteresting.
Right.
I'm just wondering if the humans are not magic capable, if we could actually explore the Silverlands for other magical capable beings who might join us, but not to deal with the fray, but to use magic in the land forces, just error effect magic. That could tip the scales a little bit in our favor.
Well, they do have a fire giant, and with the fact that he's got hellhounds, he's probably got some magic at his disposal.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
but
each
if we could
of
even
the
out.
wyvern riders also use magic.
So far, we haven't encountered any. We haven't encountered any other beings other than the guardians of the keys, and then this
And the werewolf.
enemy force. Yeah.
I have a
So
question. We could have the pictures. I think the other Sylvan creatures are just hidden. And even if they're not engaging, they could be doing nature effects, changing the terrain outside. There were things they could be doing, and it could help us while we engage the stronger forces.
Most of the forest creatures will not leave the forest. The encampments are set up outside the forest.
Would the pixie be willing to help us find other magic users that could leave the forest, other beings that we could contact here?
They rarely leave their season of the forest because the forest is split up into 4 different seasons.
Okay.
And they've only done so when they've been chasing patrols back to their camps.
Okay.
Wow, this is a lot of things to try and take over.
Yeah.
Because if we've got 11 encampments, there's only 5 of us?
Well, but there's only one encampment of importance to us right now, the encampment that happens to be holding the Griffin's Key.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And
But
that-
we haven't been able to figure out which encampment that is yet.
I know, I think the Griffins know
The
exactly which
Griffins say
encampment it
it's
is. It's
a-
the one
Oh,
closest to
okay.
them.
The one closest to the volcano,
Okay.
that they say.
So, I guess if we use Jeremy's
the
thing to
been
take
taken
down the
up.
local wyverns, we could also keep a couple of griffins in the air to watch out for other wyverns coming from the other forts, but we've got at least an hour before they'll get there.
yeah, so it gives us a basic
Window.
hard timeline on like getting in and out as quick as possible.
Though Pixie does suggest something to you.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
says, why don't you send someone to drop one of their signals into the fires of the other camps,
Yeah.
Oh,
and then they'll send riders to the camps to the north and south,
yeah,
and having less
Which
people
one?
to deal with in the camps.
that's a good idea.
So let's
Yeah.
do that. Let's.
That's what they do when they go into a camp.
So can we split and
Oh,
sneak
what's gonna
by
go there?
putting signals into the other 2 camps, and then sneak back, and then once we see the riders run away, then we make our attack on the one camp. That would work.
Mm.
What
Yeah,
do you
I
guys
think-
think?
I think that might be a good plan.
Yeah. So I guess we'll ask for the sneakiest flyers. I guess.
Well, I
We
don't,
can need to-
I don't think that any of the Wyverns could go in and drop the signal and get in there. I believe it's either a case of party members being flown on the... Sorry, not Wyverns, any of the Griffins.
Yep.
Party members being flown on Griffins to the other camps to then try and sneak in.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Or-
thinking.
The request for the Pixies to potentially perform
Help.
that part if they're willing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But it
you
might
know.
take them quite some time to actually get to those 2 locations as
If
well.
one of the elves
We
could
could
ask the
fly
nice
them
Clancy.
closer. Could we fly them closer in the wyvern and then they sneak in?
I think they fly
A griffin,
almost
yes.
as fast as a griffin. Let me just check griffin speed.
Yes, we don't have.
Unlike the
enough
unladen
spells
swallow
to
speed.
actually-
So, but of course the immediate party says,
African
are the
soaring
Pixies
control.
willing to help?
So apparently a sprite flies at half the speed of a griffin.
Oh, okay.
So griffins are twice as fast.
Okay.
It's not surprising because a small thing, they've got to go a lot further to get the same distance. So,
That is still extremely fast for a creature the size that it is.
The fastest bird ever is not much bigger than your hand.
Whereas a wyvern flies as fast as a griffin.
Okay.
Wyverns are damn nasty.
Yeah, so I think this has to be party members going on griffins to do this.
Mm.
From a game
We
perspective.
could take a pixie.
Yeah.
If we could
If we- if we-
convince the pixies to help, we
If we
could
had
take
the
a
right,
pixie.
If we had the right type of illusion spell, we could make griffins look like wyverns. That'll fall in good.
I mean, well, yeah, no, Clarissa was right. Like, the pixies can still do it, but it puts them at risk.
Oh yeah.
They've done it before.
But they've done it before. So if one of the elves wants to ask the nice clan seer, because I don't think he would be open to a human asking.
And the griffins did bring you enough saddles for the griffins for each of you to use one, and lances.
Yep.
And the clan seer looks at the lances and go, "Oh, so you've got some human-seeking lances."
Human-seeking.
Yeah.
Hopefully also orc seeking and...
Oh, they deal extra damage to humans.
But also hopefully orcs.
Orcs weren't here when they were created.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But in fact, that was just that kind of came up was the fact that I think the griffins talked about there being orcs there, but the sprites didn't mention orcs amongst the troops in the force.
Their question is, what's the difference? Both are as repulsive as each other as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. So, having
Big teeth or little teeth, that's about the difference.
Yeah. I've met some dudes. Question it.
we saw the one that we saw in black armor that the nymph was trying to drown.
Yep.
Was that a human or was that an orc?
That was a human.
That was a human. Okay.
And you've just been told that all of those are spellcasters.
Yep.
So
has the party seen any orcs yet?
You have not. You have seen wolves, hellhounds, werewolves. On one side, you're seeing wyvern prints that are too big to be wyverns that you have read about or seen.
Yep.
And you've seen some flying wyverns as well as the armored human and the skeletal remains of some humans on an island. Though technically they could have been confused with orcs because orcs don't all have pronounced teeth and protrusions that can be seen distinctly different from humans.
Or the griffins that talked about there being orcs in the fort, they might have just been using an alternate word for human.
Could have.
Or they may have heard the term whereas sprites don't care.
Yeah.
And yeah, it could have been a thing where, like, again with the whole thing, orcs, humans, what's the difference? So it's an interchangeable term. Could be.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Would somebody like to ask the sprite if they are willing to help set signals and?
I'd go for Luol.
I'll ask that very question.
Okay.
Honorable Seer, PJ here. Honorable Seer, would some people in your clan be willing to help us to set up the straight signals so we can execute the plan that is so brilliantly suggested to us?
He looks at you quizzically. He says, "Fake. It won't be fake." He doesn't deal in fake.
No, I mean, fake in a way that it wasn't triggered by them. It was us triggering a signal that they didn't intend to send.
Oh no, he'll make them trigger them. That they don't touch the fires themselves.
So you're suggesting that you're looking to attack the other forts to force them to set up signal.
That's what they did last time. That's why they have nets everywhere and magic protecting their wyverns. They learnt.
Well, that's...
A blind wyvern is a weak wyvern.
I'm not certain that it would be advantageous to effectively send a powerful enough force to force a defensive action by sending up a signal to two other locations as part of our attack. Potentially it may be better to attack the one fort we need and then be prepared for reinforcements to arrive within the hour after the fort we attack has sent up a signal.
Well, the idea is that if you have the other two forts send up signals, then you're drawing forces out of the fort we are trying to attack, which will make our fight faster and easier so we can get in, get out.
Yes, but that's fine if we could get a stealth force into the other forts and
Yes,
sprinkle dust or whatever into the fire to make it go up.
that's why my plan was to ask
Apparently-
the pixie if they're able to do that, or will that put them in danger?
Well, the Pixie's plan is actually not to sneak in, but to actually attack the other forts so that they are under attack and therefore requesting assistance. Not just pretending to be under attack.
Well,
And that would involve sending a big enough force to the other two forts to actually make it an attack worthy of sending up a defense signal.
but they both look at you. The pixie looks at you rather quizzically. He says, "Last time it took 2 pixies."
How many pixies do you have available?
Well, he's got since word of you passed, there's about 50 volunteers.
It
If-
sounds like they do pretty good on their own.
Yeah.
Well, certainly yes. If they are able to effectively either attack and or force the other force to send up a signal without putting themselves in significant danger and without diluting any other forces that we've got available to us, then certainly it sounds like a wonderful plan. And I'm sure that a single griffin can carry any number of pixies to the other two forts, so therefore we send one griffin. It effectively does not diminish our forces, and they do get there faster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I agree with this. Let's do it.
So, the Pixies said that they're happy to do it already, haven't they? Yep. We just have to figure out timing.
Well,
now.
they get to kill humans.
I think they're pretty happy.
As long
with
as
that.
they don't mix up the humans with Luel as the humans they get to kill.
Well,
Although
there is a
kind-
reason why you're not bringing them with you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's probably a good point. So timing, are we doing this right now?
It is the early morning, so if we have the pixies go out now and we lay in wait for the fort we're trying to attack their riders to leave, that would be the signal for our attack.
Yeah.
Plus, you could potentially attack one of the air support flying from camp to camp.
Yeah.
Because you could go wait on the volcano until they're passing and attack them.
Yeah.
Because then they're not expecting to be attacked en route to
an attack. Yep.
So I'm just going to duck to the
That's
bathroom while you
probably
think
also
about
a pretty good.
other
Yeah,
tactics.
so it's like bit guerrilla warfare style kind of stuff.
It also has the aspect of, yes, exactly how close we can get 80 to 100 or plus griffins to the campsite without being seen yet. So the aspect of, yes, if we can take the force to the likely route of them sending to the other camps,
Yep.
that keeps us further away from the original camp itself.
Well, if we
until we're ready
can
for it.
hide on like part of that volcano where we can't be seen.
I guess the question
Yeah.
is like if the volcano is further south or if it's volcano then fort. I guess is the question.
I think because the volcano's technically a round region, if the fort is on this side, we can still come in from this side, use the
Yeah.
cover of the
Yeah.
volcano
Yes,
to
stay on
come
high
as
ground.
close as we can towards the fort that's in front of the volcano.
Yeah.
Then we could send riders off to get because I'll only be sending their wyverns off to the two camps, so probably two groups of 6 if I got 12.
Yeah.
So we can send off 2 smaller batches of griffins to deal with them while we go into the fort.
Yep.
Yep.
So you also
Sounds good.
have the Sprite Pixie ask Luel one more question.
Yes.
He holds up a bunch of coloured sticks and he says, "Which one's red? Which one's green?"
I look at the sticks.
He's got a bunch of red and green sticks amongst them. He can't tell the difference.
What do these
Could you
sticks do?
Give me these sticks for a moment.
Yep.
I take them from him.
They're alchemical sticks that burn and send up a coloured smoke.
And which coloured smoke?
It doesn't matter as long as they're different.
Well, he
It's
says the humans seem to want the red smoke to go towards and green smoke to ignore. So, because they can't tell the difference,
You have to take the green ones off the pixie and leave only the red ones.
This is why I'm taking all of them from the pixie, sorting them into red and green, and handing him back one of them.
But don't we have 2 camps that we need to do?
You end up having to sort through about 10 different piles of sticks as all the different pixies start bringing their ones that they've taken from humans they've looted in the last 50 odd years.
Yep. Alright. So, if you tie a string around all of those, I say pointing at the red pile, the ones with the string on are the red ones.
Well, they suggest you take the green ones, and if they send up red, just toss green on the red, and then people won't come.
Yeah. I think just keep the green ones. Because string can fall off.
Well, no, this is...
Plus they'll probably forget what the string means by the time they get there.
Yeah.
Well,
Just keep the green ones.
So, so we've got red and green ones. They've decided they'll take all the red ones. We've got all the green ones. We don't have to worry about differentiating them.
Yeah.
we can keep some of the red ones
Why?
because they may well be useful in the future.
That's
If there are
true.
11 camps, if we end up having to deal with all of them, having the opportunity to both send and receive ribbons or patrols.
Because if there's 10
then maybe it's
piles,
for both.
there's plenty to keep some.
That's right, there's plenty available, so we can give them enough to send off their signal, and if they're happy for us to keep the green ones and some of the red, I think that's worthwhile.
Yep.
They're more than happy. And then once they've gotten their one sorted out, they get you to convince a griffin to help them.
Are they able to provide a bit of a rough geographical map of where the volcano is compared to where the caverns are and things like that?
They point. There's a path heading east out of the Griffin Fields, not far from where you are.
Yeah.
And once you come out of the forest, the volcano will be to the south, and the camp will be the other side of the volcano. So if you come out of the forest at the end of the path, you'll be most protected from the camp you're about to approach.
Perfect.
Yeah. However, that means if we're hiding behind the volcano for the departing wyverns from the camp we want to attack, they're probably not actually getting closer to us from that position, like where the other two camps on the side.
Well, if you go on the left side of the volcano, they say there's a statue there. You can probably wait there, and you'll see the wyverns leave long before they will see you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that.
Okay.
And
they time to try and catch that patrol before it reaches the other campsite.
You do have a chance of catching them before they reach the other campsite. Because all the encampments along that side of the forest are all against the mountain. They've learned not to get too close to the forest.
Right.
Mm.
He's quite proud of that fact.
As he should be.
Okay.
Hey, let's
So I
go.
say Land mission go. Let's.
Okay, so as they fly off, you notice that the griffins they're on disappear from view not long after they take off.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Cool.
Cool.
Invisible jet.
Yeah, we just need
They're
Wonder
carrying,
Woman.
they're carrying enough pixies that they can extend their invisibility field that little bit further.
That's cool.
Well, groups of pixies and other sprites have been known to be able to work together to make other things invisible.
That's pretty cool.
Wow, that would be amazing.
Well, they're the sort of people who would even make bridges invisible, just to make people not be able to cross ravines and things like that. It's not that they want to be malicious; they choose to be malicious against people that they're opposed to.
Yeah.
And make their life difficult.
So it's good that we're in the company of elves at the moment.
So then, yeah, okay, so once the strikes have departed on their griffins, which presumably to explain that level of, hey, please carry these strikes and everything like that, and follow their direction as to where they want to go. The tribesman will use a charge from his ring to actually explain that. And then at the same time, explain that the remainder of the griffins are going to be moving towards the volcano, aiming to stay out of sight of the encampment until we can attack the departing griffins, and then follow up with an attack on the campsite itself.
Okay, you've still got about 100 griffins with you. Hard to tell considering there's so many griffins. And it's not like they stand still to be counted.
Yep.
No, that's right. But this is why I'm trying to ensure that they're aware that the intent is we're not going straight to the campsite, we're not going to involve, we're going to be seen, we're going to try and be sneaky initially, and then hit it.
I would say it'd also be a good idea for them to nominate the wyverns, the griffins that will attack the wyverns who will be providing support to the other camps now, rather than picking those griffins later.
Okay.
They seem to have very good memories.
The griffins?
Yeah. So yeah, I think if we were to nominate, I guess 3 to 6 of each for each group.
I think we'll only get a chance to actually attack one patrol of the, or one flight of the wyverns moving towards one of the camps.
Yeah.
Because we won't be in a position to be able to attack both. Like if they send out 2 flights to the different camps that both have to both show distress.
Yeah.
From the volcano, I'm assuming we can't reach both of those flights. So we're only going to be going for one of them anyway.
Well,
we only need the one.
The idea that you make the groups now is that the group closest to one of those groups can be on the other side of the volcano, closer to one camp, while the other one's on our side of the volcano, closest to another camp, and then they both theoretically would take the same amount of time to reach those wyverns.
So technically, if you did have one on the other side of the volcano, closest to the other camp it could fly towards, you could intervene before it reaches the camp.
Yeah, so that they would go there straight away and lie in wait while the other attacking group that splits off will be with us. And then timing's going to be roughly the same if both camps are 8 miles away from the fort.
I'm happy with that plan then, yeah. If we can probably send, I would expect if the...
It's likely maximum they've got up to 12, so you might be looking at 6 in each.
Right, actually if they do send tweets to both at the same time, potentially there might be orders that says, no, you'll only help defend in one side, you only send. So we could be dealing with up to 12.
Yeah.
So I would be kept to effectively send say about 30 griffins,
Yeah.
basically attacking party
Yep.
on one side, and the remainder will be with us on the other side.
Yep. And if they send them as one group, the ones that are on our side can just stay with the group.
That's just it, yeah. That's what I was just thinking about was, yeah. No, I'm thinking that if we would send, I was just tossing up the idea, if we're with the group of about 30, then the 70 can attack their own and then move on to the Citadel, but I think I prefer to have control of the larger group.
Yeah. I think
forward,
that would be wiser.
Okay. So you take flight, and so the saddles are quite comfortable and adjust down to small size. The lances glow quite brightly in the hands of the elves.
I probably can't hold a lance, I'm guessing.
Not easily. They are designed for
I will
larger
concentrate
people.
on having bombs.
And the tribesmen and Lani can't pick up the other lances because it burns to touch.
Oh, so they really are human-seeking lances. Okay. Lonnie is disappointed.
I've got the concern with leaving the lance behind.
She tries again anyway.
Burns again.
She stops.
The Triton
Ouch, don't touch it. Ouch, don't touch it.
Go, Jeremy.
The Triton prefer to use his bow anyway.
And one of the things that Pixie does say before it leaves is that the Wyvern leave the area when their riders are killed.
So we could also just attack the riders.
Right, we can currently focus on the riders in our attack. Whether how effective the Griffins can focus on a rider, different question. But I'm sure they're used to it being attacking or being attacked by these patrols previously. So I'm sure they'll do with them in the way that they see fit. So, yeah. On the way, the tribesmen will actually attempt to fire a few shots to practice shooting from the air, just to see what sort of adjustments he's got to make when he's shooting and things like that.
It's not too bad. You do have a solid perch, which is nice.
Okay.
Always nice.
Okay, so as you fly over the forest, you do see a herd of centaurs beneath you as you fly over.
We should take note of that position because that's where our centaur key might be.
And the sound of many arrows flying.
Oh, the centaurs are firing at us?
No arrows seem to be coming up,
Oh, okay.
but many arrows seem to. You can hear the sounds of bows and arrows striking things
From where the centaurs are?
from below.
Oh, just from below in general? Okay.
You're not exactly sure what's happening, but you don't really go down to find out.
So when we see these centaurs, we don't connect them with the sound of bows
Oh,
firing.
you do connect up to the sounds of bows firing.
Okay.
Just that you're not sure what they're firing at.
Okay, yeah. So we got the idea they may be under attack, but not by what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't take long, and you clear the trees, maybe about 2 hours to fly out there, as you see the volcano.
Yeah.
Rising up out of an area that seems to have been cleared of trees.
Not happy.
There's burnt stumps for many miles from the edge of the forest.
Now we know why the tree of life is dying. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, in previous sessions we have found different trees around the forest in the different season sections where the hearts of the tree have been ripped out.
So now that Clarissa's character's here, she can actually fill you in on some of that.
Yeah.
Because from the lore from the tree keepers is the guardians of the original Tree of Life were merged with the forest.
Oh, okay. So the hearts that have been ripped out might be these guardians.
Might be the elven guardians that were left behind to
Yeah.
protect the forest.
Yeah. And that's why those trees are being targeted.
Yes, and the question is, are the humans doing that? And how do they find them?
Yeah.
From what we can tell, it's one specific human that has been described to match the description of the one guy that we're kind of after.
And could potentially be the guy who drove the elves out of the forest a couple of millennia ago.
Mm.
That's right. He's using the same name. He's using the name Warcraft, which is the name of the human wizard that drove the elves out. Whether it's the same Warcraft or someone just cashing in on the fame,
Yep.
we don't know yet.
Yep.
It could be just like the Phantom.
Yeah. Handed down.
All looks the
generation to
same.
generation.
Where's the same clues?
The Dread Pirate Roberts.
And instead of having a ring that leaves a mark on the chin, he's got a scarf that leaves a mark in the ground.
Yep.
Yes. And doesn't take you too long, and you find yourself landing where the pixie said on the side of the mountain, side of the volcano.
Mm-hmm.
At this point on the volcano, you can actually see the statue is a 30-foot high metal statue of a wrestler
Mm-hmm.
that seems to be staring down its at a path between its legs.
Mm.
This might be the warrior key that we're looking for.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good thought. We can we take note of that location
And
as well?
you do,
Yeah, it's
and you
on
do
the-
note
it's
that
on the
you
volcano.
are about 6 miles from the encampment. So your two elven friends can actually see it from that far.
Yeah, true.
What can they see?
They can actually see the encampment, the campfires, the smoke rising, which most of you can see as a ribbon.
Uh-huh.
You can see a further ribbon to the south and one to the east.
So what were we seeing? The
Ribbon of smoke from
Oh,
the
right, yeah.
encampments.
Yep. So does that mean the signals are being set off?
No, they're just normal smoke.
Oh, just like
Yeah.
fire.
So
Yeah.
it's a constant smoke, fire, and
Yeah.
then they use the colors to signal for anything.
So based on how far we had to travel to get the volcano,
Mhm.
and how far the pixie carrying griffins had to fly to get to the other campsites,
You'd expect they'd have about another hour before they reach them.
and how far away was this giant warrior?
That's where you landed. That's where the pixies had suggested was a great vantage point to see the encampment.
Okay. Well, going to say, while we're waiting,
One thing.
Yep.
I could potentially make 3 of us invisible
Generally for a short time.
for 1 hour. Just putting out there if needed.
That might be useful maybe in the future. So, was the tribesman suggesting that we try to go for this warrior key while we wait? Or do you think it best like we try to get the key out of this fort and then go after the warrior key or whatever
Well,
this wrestler is?
if we've got an hour to wait and we don't know anything about this fact, this apparently statue, the guys are certainly going to go and have a look at it, aiming to not be seen as he's going up the mountain, either by roving patrols and or by the actual, whatever the guardian is that might be at this key. So but yeah, I figure that hey, if the key's readily available, we can pick it up. If not,
We know where to come back.
Yeah.
Lonnie, as Lonnie sees the tribesman go off, she's gonna be like, "Don't touch anything."
Okay, so give me a perception roll as the tribesman looks at the statue.
All of us, or
Uh,
Did he do investigation instead?
It was
Did he do investigation?
it was the tribesman specifically had gone off to the statue while everyone else was looking towards the encampments. So you got a 21, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Looking at it, you can see on its
20.
forehead what appears to be one of the keys.
What? In whose forehead?
That's where a lot of the keys are kept, is in the forehead of the statue and or guardian, kind of depending on who it is, what it is, that sort of thing. We've seen this at least 3 different times before.
Is that is the key in the same material as the statue?
No,
or
it is
looks like
not.
a different material?
It's made of a metal you can't identify. It looks like gold, but isn't.
Think like Mario coins? That's basically what they are. Okay.
I'm aiming to do a circuit of the statue and looking around for any other features or potential guardian. Like I say, it seems odd that the only time we've had the coin stuck in the forehead of a statue before was for the Chimera, where it caused weird dreams and things like that as we approach. So I'm aiming to do a bit of a cautious circuit to see what...
So does Nissa stop watching the campsites and help? So, Clarissa, is your character stopping watching the campsites to investigate the statue? Because only you and Luell can actually see clear enough to actually identify what's going on.
Well, okay, how about I just keep an eye on those and...
You can't watch both. You can,
Okay.
there are 3 of them. You can only keep 1 to 2 of them in sight at any time.
Lonnie is watching
Right.
the other forts.
Yeah,
Or
you
watching
look at those, because I'm probably best...
Very hard for you to see it changing colour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm best looking at the statue.
do you wanna-
It's history on them.
So Luell stops looking at the smokestacks as well then?
I think the implication was that we need both elves watching the campsites for the smoke.
Yeah,
One on one
because
side of the volcano type stuff and one on the other side of the volcano probably.
I got human eyes and I could see smoke ribbons, but it is hard to tell against the sky what color it is.
Differentiate colour probably.
Yeah. Only the elves can
Yes.
differentiate colour at that distance.
Yep.
But if you want to look at the statue, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's allowed.
No,
Lonnie's
but
gonna yell at you though.
They're better off doing this for...
Do you have detect magic?
yeah, except detect magic doesn't work at that range.
Isn't that how many
It depends. Clarissa, he's suggesting that you're doing detect magic on the smoke or the statue, so that you can't do it on the smoke, but you can do it on the statue.
Yes.
You can
No,
go to the
because
statue.
you can bring yourself and everything in the range can light up just to your eyes, right? It's a choice.
Yeah, so but he's asking you, where are you looking for magic?
Doesn't matter, you keep moving, it doesn't have to be a single place. You do the spell, and then for the duration, you can see it.
Are you doing it as a ritual or are you doing it as a spell?
I would do it as a spell, but I probably was Well who was looking. Because
But Lulu has ability from something that has detect magic on all the time.
no, you can concentrate for 10 minutes in one cast, right?
It does 10 minutes for one casting, yes.
And you have to be 30 feet off. So things have to be 30 feet from you. So you need to check your range if you're going to do it. And it can check, before you approach the smoke, you can check the area of the smoke up to anything up to 30 feet of each.
Yeah, no, but the smoke is 6 miles away.
Yeah, so that's not going to.
And in some cases, 12 to 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I was thinking about the statue, okay? Like just
That's okay.
Magical traps of things around the statue.
So our watchmen are not watching, they have turned to look at the statue. Got it.
So.
Wait,
Yeah.
hold on. Can I roll
have
to
to
see how long it
for
takes me
the
to realize that they're
engagement.
not watching?
You can't see them from this distance.
No,
You can't tell.
how long it takes me to realize
Oh,
that
okay, sure.
that Luel and Nari are not
Probably when they start talking about the statue.
Yeah, but I'll keep glancing back to the encampment. I don't want to lose sight of what is happening.
But the statue is not within 30 feet of where you are, unless you're going to look at the statue and therefore not looking at the smoke.
And you'll have griffins. And you'll have griffins between. You'll have griffins between you and the encampment when you move to the statue to get it in range.
Okay.
So I don't.
So it's hard to make a decision.
Yeah, don't stress on the detect magic. Because I say, the tribesman, if he feels it's necessary, can look for magic.
Okay.
Because as I say, the tribesman learned to become shaman of the clans, and therefore has picked up some other skills that were not part of his initial skill set.
But still handy.
Yes. But at this stage, as I say, his intent was to effectively do a mundane circuit of the statue to look around for other issues.
So you spotted something. Now you need to make an investigation roll to determine other information, because perception and investigation give you two different things.
Happy with that?
And the reason I was asking that was if the elves were getting involved, they would notice other things as well.
Yeah, no, happy with that. So natural 20 on the investigation.
Okay.
So that's 26.
On a 26 with your natural 20, you find the statue to be very well articulated. And it seems to have footprints in. This is a 30-foot tall statue in height as well. And you can see areas nearby where it's left footprint indentations in the ground, meaning that you believe that this is not a inanimate creature.
The statue moves sometimes.
The statue moves sometimes, and at this stage it has not been activated. Your actions have not caused it to do anything. You're not exactly sure what would cause it to activate.
Mm-hmm. But I can't see anything else around. Like I didn't find anything else around indicating other habitation or anything like that. That was other people or anything like that.
There are signs of crushed bones in some of the footprints.
Nice.
Right.
Humorous, but also informative.
So I'm guessing we ended up with the tribes that were doing the circuit, but the investigation of the warrior by himself at this stage?
To start with, yes, because the elves were busy keeping track of what was happening in the distance.
Happy with that. It was more whether or not Lani was also with me at the present time, so she was staying effectively as the central point. Happy with that.
She was also trying to make sure she could see if anything else
Broken them the
happened.
wrong way, but essentially.
All good.
Yeah, that works as well.
Well, I will return to
I just take it.
the main group of the party and inform them of what I found. The fact that, yep, it seems the warrior has another key in the statue's forehead, but it's not just a statue, it apparently can move and provide its own defense.
Would that be called a golem?
That might be another name for it.
I'm just proud that I came up with a legit name. So I guess you don't want to get too close to it because you might have to end up fighting it.
Can we, from where the statue is right now, can it see the other party members and all the other griffins and things?
If it's stood up straight, yes.
Mm-hmm. So, yes.
Is that
My recommendation will be to come back here after the attack on the fort, and we shall attempt to deal with the statue then.
Yep.
Based on the idea that we don't want to weaken any forces at this stage, depending on how powerful the statue is. So,
unless we could communicate with the statue and tell it to beat up all the other forts, but
would be nice.
Be fun.
it's a fantasy I have briefly.
But it is a huge size statue for a creature, meaning it would not be an easy task to defeat.
No, but if you could get its cooperation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Cool.
Do we know anything about animated statues? Any of us?
You can make an Arcana roll.
Oh, okay.
I expect the artisans would probably know something about making something objects move.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
I think
But I'm not there right now.
You can certainly go for it, absolutely. Although, again, you should be concentrating on the at the moment. So.
I think
What did you say?
I'll leave that for later. One, I'm not even in the area, so I don't know.
Well, he came back and told the others, so
Oh,
they
did
can
he?
give you their
Sorry.
opinion based on
I'm
it.
figuring that Duke and Lani
Yeah.
are effectively the central point of the party at the present time.
Yeah,
And I don't mind if Luel and Nia give comments on what they think it is,
yeah.
but they get disadvantage on their Arcana roll because they're concentrating on something else.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it
And
might not
I
be a
don't have
good
Arcana
time.
trained, so it's not my job anyway. I can use history on it, but I can't use Arcana.
Well, you can always make a roll. You're just not good at it.
Well, yeah,
You could fluke it.
I could get a natural 20, that's certainly true. I will roll an Arcana to give my contribution.
So, Ariadna, you have a +8 to the roll.
Yeah, I know.
You would be.
Yeah, I got close.
Is it worthwhile doing it now though?
Well, they've told you about it, which means you give you some idea of how well you actually know
Sorry,
these
I
things.
didn't get close. I got a knock suck. I got 6.
Do we get any rerolls in this group?
Natural one.
Not quite.
Who was it?
We should have at least one roll. Actually, can we claim a re-roll?
Where's the dice
Can we claim a
jar?
re-roll at the table because it's my birthday tomorrow?
I'm happy to do that.
What was
Here it
it?
is.
It's Paul's actual birthday tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Happy birthday.
So I'll give you a reroll.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you, Paul.
Okay, here you
Well, I generally
No, that one's in jail.
It's in jail now.
I generally give one
Oh.
for people
my
showing up
I
one
couldn't
time.
find it.
It looks like a
Yeah.
I
9.
lost it at home.
Yeah, it's
just have to
so it's
roll.
6. The line's underneath it.
So it's a.
Do you need someone to
14.
roll for you, Calista?
I just rolled 2 dice, a 9 and a 12, so I have a +8. Actually, more than +8.
This will be 17.
Let me just check, because I updated. Let me just quickly check something. What did I put
Shouldn't be
myself?
more
Okay.
than
I need
+8.
summer prize,
Yeah.
right?
Let's say it should be the
Five.
highest.
So +8, right?
Yep.
And that makes it 9 + 8 is 17.
Okay,
Because
so
that's my smaller row. My larger row would be 19.
having a look at it from what they've from the suggestions that they've given you, each of you think it does sound like a golem. You can't figure out what sort of golem. Because, to be honest, you've not heard of one so big. Most golems are generally indoors protecting something.
Yeah.
You said it's 30 feet tall?
Yeah.
So
Not even stone golems are that big.
and
I
a
think made
golem
like a-
made out of brass is not something you guys have heard of before.
It's the special one.
So, if we specifically go back for it later, will I be able to make another Arcana
If you get
roll?
other information, yes.
Yes, okay, so I need to get more information before I can do that again. And hopefully I won't
Can I-
have dice that I want to jail.
And was
I
that?
wonder if I would think that they could, if they have fire giants, if we heard they have giants, they have the, like, invade some giants. It could mean that they use a giant to make a golem. Because you can make them from creatures that live too.
That is only really a thing if you're making a flesh golem.
Oh
Yeah, we
yeah.
don't know what type it.
Well, it's bronze.
Yeah,
We
that's the
got
thing.
that from
That's the thing. Its body form and size doesn't actually matter on what creature they're basing it on.
yeah.
It's just how big the enchanter has made it.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, the only reason that a creature's size is important from a golem's point of view is if you're making a flesh golem,
And-
which this is sort of not.
And
also-
because it has one of the
I
keys
probably
in
see a
it,
golem.
it does mean that this golem would at least be 3,500 years old, if
Oh.
not more.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna
But that's
say.
the
It's like
thing.
this golem is a
People who live here were so powerful magically. They have magic we never heard of. That's everything.
Every
Everything has been to death.
everything
It's
that has
hard-
dealt with a key here was related to the elves who built the nation and the god Ilsundar.
yeah. So everything that has keys, they are guardians that were selected by the elves.
Do you want any more?
Whereas the fire giants and all those guys, they're technically invaders.
Yeah, they're not originating from these lands, whereas the golem, being 3,500 years old, does.
Yeah. So, cool.
All right,
I
let's
guess we gotta
get on
wait
with
for
the-
wait for the signal. I guess.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so you end up waiting for about 3 hours.
Hmm.
Give me a perception roll for our wizard and our warlock to see how well they're noticing things.
Can I roll a disadvantage?
I'm technically an artificer, right?
Yes.
You're an
Yeah,
artificer.
so
You are.
I'm not in that group.
No.
You can roll with disadvantage.
He's talking about the elves.
Yes, 18.
So I have to do advantage or disadvantage?
You don't get advantage or disadvantage, you get a basic roll.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
others,
I was just asking if I could roll a disadvantage for
I
fun.
got 18.
I got 10.
you got 18.
At least your dice aren't trying to kill me.
Yes,
Okay.
3.
So, both of you do notice that the southern one has put up started to put up a red cloud.
Oh, okay.
What?
The smoke is coming up red.
The
So the
southern
pixies
one,
have gotten to one camp.
is that the one that we're closer to, or where the other 30 griffins are more likely to be going for?
That's the one that is about the 12 mile away from you instead of the 6 mile.
Okay, right. So if they respond to that signal, it's going to be the other group of griffins that are dealing with the griffins.
Yep.
And while you're pointing that out, Llewell points out that apparently the camp has 3 of the wyverns getting ready for takeoff.
Right.
Camp we're
And-
going to take.
Yes.
Yep.
and a contingent of riders going out on wolves.
Okay.
And the wolves are similar to the wolves you've seen in the forest.
Right. They're not the hellhounds that are supposed to be with a fire giant.
Not the hellhounds, but the
But
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's wolves, not the special ones.
yeah. Well, they're
Not
probably potentially
flaming
dire
hunting
wolf
puppy.
werewolves.
and you see about 20 of them heading south.
Hmm.
I see. So how many of them
Well,
have to do with?
we don't know exactly how many wolves it will lead, but it leads probably at least 50 to 70 human/orcs and up to 9 wyverns.
So the only one fort went red. It'll take approximately an hour for the Ravens to get there.
And probably about 4 hours for the
wolves. So do we wait for the other fort to go, or should we go within the next half hour if it doesn't go red?
Well, how much time do we think there's likely to be between the arrival potentially of the pixies at the two separate forts, and was there any sort of a plan for coordinating their timing in any way?
It's a shame we don't have Google Maps.
Yeah.
I don't know that we had a definite way of coordinating the attack, except possibly, okay, it should take one group about 4 hours to get there, it should take the other group about 6 hours to get there, aim to attack at this time for both groups, but I don't know whether that was...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you guys go there and wait 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, but, yeah.
Yeah, so we didn't plan that. So I guess.
So how long do we think it will take the other group to get to what kind of time difference do we think we're looking at?
You'd expect that already be there.
Yeah.
It's probably how long does it take for them to cause as much carnage and mayhem for them to actually send out a request for help.
Yeah.
So in which case I think that it is fair to wait probably another 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too long, but not right now.
So.
Okay, so I'll get Luell to make another perception roll because he was the one watching towards the other camp.
Yeah.
Yep. Ooh, nice. Very nice.
What did he get?
That's 24.
24. Okay, it takes about 10 more minutes and then you start to see red smoke coming out of the northern camp, which that's the one that's about 20 miles away.
Right.
In that time, did Nari see whether or not the flight of ribbons that went out got attacked by the other griffins at all?
These were the ones. The first group were the ones closest to you guys.
Oh, were they? Oh, okay. So did we see that? Okay, well, certainly when I say we're waiting 10, 15 minutes, it was a case that if we see the wyverns actually fly past or nearby, we certainly want to take them out as they go past. So
when you see them flying, that they skirt the mountain, which means that there's a lot of open sky between you and them.
Okay, so they're staying almost as far away from us as they can, going to the other one. It's effectively the fortress is probably still in between us and them. Is that right?
To start with, they fly south further from you before they start turning west towards the other encampment.
Okay.
So it might be worth letting.
We'll just let them go and we'll aim to attack the fort.
Yeah, and having the other group of griffins attack whatever leaves from the fort now. As soon as, if they leave, we'll see.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just hope the guys aren't trying to kill us.
So it was like 10, 15 minutes. We saw the other red smoke go up. Can Nari and or Cluel spot preparations or movements in our target at that point there?
Okay, you can see that they seem to be getting another group of 3 wyverns ready. And another group of riders, but at this time only 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the group of riders head off north from them, with the 3 wyverns flying along the mountains, more heading west first, then north.
Okay.
They seem to have a plan of skirting the mountains instead of going in the forest.
And we'll take the most direct route. So.
Because also if they were being attacked from the forest, it means that they can provide backup from cover of the encampment, because anything would normally be attacking from the forest side, not the mountain side.
Yep. Okay.
Tactically, it is a tactically superior way to use their forces.
Yes.
Assuming that the extra time taken does not cause the loss of the fortress in the meantime.
Yeah.
They may have learnt their lesson.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess now it's time for us to attack.
I would think that you give them, again,
Give them the
I mean-
lead, and then yeah.
You also see a flight of 30-odd griffins take off from the other end of the volcano.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were told to wait until they could see griffins in the air.
Yep.
Wyverns in the air.
Yep.
And then they were going, and they're flying after the wyverns who are skirting the mountains to the north.
okay. And based on the direction or position of their flight, do we think that those 30 griffins would likely be seen from our target fort?
Possibly if they were looking in the right spot in the sky. It's the equivalent
Like
of
stuff like that?
it's the equivalent of trying to spot a seagull that's a dot in the sky.
Yeah, no, I did expect it would be difficult. But yeah, so I would suggest that, yep, we give the second patrol or the second rescue group probably again maybe 5-10 minutes to move away, and then aim to come in fairly low to reduce the chance of them seeing us until we're actually getting towards the fort, in which case we definitely want to take height to actually stay out of range of their any of their ground forces.
Are there rocks on this mountain that the griffins can drop?
I was going to ask that earlier when we were talking about Martin mentioned before they even left whether or not we should ask the griffins if they know of good places to collect rocks.
Yeah.
But in all the talking, I didn't get to
Yeah, I don't think we
ask
got
that.
to it. Yeah.
So yes, the griffins are more than happy to grab rocks on the way.
Yep.
So you have 70-odd griffins fly out with you.
Mm-hmm.
This is good news.
And yep, we'll be aiming to make good speed to the fort. Trying to keep watch on what's happening and where they're going and when they spot us. But when we get to as we approach, if we get to the stage where we can actually get over the top of it, then they'll be looking for dropping rocks and things. But I'm guessing there might be something happening before then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got my trident ready as we fly on through.
You don't need a lance of human killing. You've got your trident.
Exactly, and this one comes back to me even better.
Which is funny because you can throw it from way up. Yeah, whoops, I threw it down to the ground a mile below. Hey look, it's in my hand again.
Hey, there it is.
Just takes a few rounds to come back.
Hey guys, check this out. Eat.
I promise you have to technically throw it.
Yeah.
Because if you just go drop.
If I drop it, then it doesn't work.
Mark found out that the hard way with his hammer of throwing.
Did he really?
Mm-hmm.
He dropped it for one and it bounced and then stayed where it was. It's like, but it's a returning one. But you didn't throw
But you
it.
didn't throw it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Funny.
The magic
Oh,
didn't
yes.
activate.
You dropped it to the ground. It just happened to be a long way down.
Yeah.
If you throw it to the ground,
Speaking of rocks and dropping them from great height,
Yep.
what would happen if we dropped a 30-foot tower down on it?
Oh, yeah.
Quite a lot of things would happen. You'd probably destroy the tower.
I was
but
going
you'd
to
take
say, I
out
don't
all
know
the
that the
stuff.
tower would survive, but, you know.
It would work.
It
We
would.
might also make it hard to look for the coin in the bottle as well, so...
Yeah, but we could, do detect coin type magic, couldn't we?
Nah. Maybe.
Surely you can do detect a magical item in an area.
You can, but it can be hidden by certain types of materials.
Oh, okay.
All you need is a thin coating of lead and you cannot detect anything magical.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, then we might ask the pixies.
That's fine, next time.
They wouldn't be able to see through that either.
We don't want to destroy our tower for the
No.
sake of a single block.
I
Yeah,
am
no,
not
no.
suggesting this in any seriousness
And
whatsoever.
the amusing thing is you probably could have asked the pixies to get the coin.
Could we? From the
You could have, yes.
Kind of, I guess.
from the fort?
Yeah.
Why didn't we do that?
Because we're silly.
Because the GM wasn't telling you the easy way up.
Oh, okay.
But also
Now he
because
tells us.
we also, that wouldn't have been as effective because we had 100 war-hungry griffins wanting to attack the fort because they stole their coin.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
yes,
that's true.
it's best to look at the griffins while they're acting as a distraction. I was going to suggest it, but since I got distracted by what somebody else was saying.
Or you could heat up one of your pizza pieces.
Yes. Did you want a pizza piece as opposed to a snack box? Yeah. Won't take me long.
Okay, so yes, you take flight. It is quite good. While you're up in the air, you do also notice that a shadow falls over you.
Okay, we will. Okay. Well, certainly, if the tribesman notices the shadow falling over the top of us, or notices a big shadow on the ground coming up towards us before it goes over the top of us, he'll be looking up.
Okay.
I got a better idea. Slide sideways and look up.
Okay. Looking up, you see a eagle of unusual size.
Hopefully, one that can't hear very well.
Oh no, he can hear quite well now. Apparently, someone made him a hearing aid.
That's okay. I'm happy in that situation because it means that it's still one that's probably on our side as opposed to a wizard of unusual size carrying a big wizard with a staff.
Is
It's the
is
rock.
there in the lore or something we have heard of such creatures before?
It is a rock. It is basically a giant eagle, making giant eagles look like they're tiny little sparrows.
And he was a key guardian that we interacted with previously.
That's right. Well, friendly terms we left him with after getting feed for his chickens and things like that.
And he was old enough to remember the owls before they left, which means extremely old for a rock.
That's
Yes,
hard of hearing.
And when we're talking big, it's the idea that the classic image of a rock is effectively an eagle carrying an elephant in one claw.
How do you tell that?
Well, let me see. I actually have a picture that I can put up on the... Oh, you don't want to look at a Turesque right now, do you?
Well,
That would not be welcome.
coming up on the other side of the fortress, then we'll leave it alone for the time being.
So there
yes.
is your
forever.
rock. So it is basically multicolored eagle.
Yeah, not the robot.
Yeah.
And I'll give Llewell and Llewell and Clarissa's character Nia a perception roll at the same time to see if they notice something else happening.
18.
What did Llewell get?
21.
21. Okay, so between the two of you, you do notice that not only is the rock that you spoke to there, but you can see a couple of bunches of them coming in from the distance as well.
I will relate this to
bunch
the
of
others.
From the mountains on the other side of the encampment.
Oh gosh.
You count at least, let me see, I'll give you a random roll on the dice. Why not?
Do I make that?
No.
Okay, you see 12 more coming from the other side of the encampment.
Bloody hell.
Okay.
It's another war party.
Rocks.
Just a quick question of curiosity. Do we know whether rocks particularly like griffins as source of food?
No, but they do find them extremely irritating and annoying.
And they don't like to associate with them.
But they dislike humans far more, and they are fairly intelligent. They're considered above animalistic sort of intelligence.
Yeah, but it was more the sudden thought that, oh yes, whilst we might have been friends with this great big rock with a hearing aid, He might not have spotted us flying on what might be his natural food.
Well, I was going to say, is there any recognition, especially of Luel and I, as being friendly to them?
Well, they don't seem to be attacking.
Okay, alright.
Though one is flying over the top,
will-
creating a shadow over the group.
Okay.
His
I will
wings.
wave up.
So normally their wingspan is probably about 50 to 60 feet. This one has a wingspan of about 120 feet.
So,
Which is very
could
possible.
I rely on my hearing aid being functional enough for the rock to hear me if I called out?
I'm assuming it's probably a fair distance away at the moment.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm not quite sure.
It would
what
probably
that
be
distance is
about
like.
200 feet above
Okay, yeah, I got that the wingspan was big, but I didn't know how big, if that makes sense. I don't know whether or not I should fly my griffin up higher to the rock. Or
I'll
just
find
see
mine
if the
up.
rock's on our side.
I'll
Let's
find
just
mine
see
up.
what the rock is cooking.
And
Then you can give it a high.
I would love to fly up, like near a little bit like in level to the head, and do a bow and thank them for being here. Thank the like draw a guard into another.
okay, so as you fly up to it, it puts out in a booming voice, "Gelfling, you're here."
It's very auspicious to see you.
Though you would expect you could actually hear its voice within about 10 miles.
Oh, bad. So just like.
So everybody now knows we have a girlfriend.
I'm girlfriend? I thought it was girlfriend.
No. But just as funny.
Gelfling is the name that you're referring to both you and Claw when we saw it previously.
So it doesn't get on your books.
Back in a sec.
As in, it obviously, yes, either doesn't speak the word elf in that sort of sense,
Or it's got a slight lisp considering it is
That's
old.
right. Yeah. So,
They've not asked it because, well, do you really want to ask a very old creature why it's mispronouncing things?
that's right. Well, and besides, we had a good understanding of why it might have been mispronouncing things for the last several centuries. It went deaf.
And it also blamed the griffins for its deafness,
Oh,
if you remember.
Yep.
Yeah.
let's just hope they'll be frenemies.
As you get closer, you do notice it has a boulder in each of its claws about the size of probably your tower.
Oh wow.
How did the griffins react to the shadow going over the top of them?
Most of them turn to look up,
Yep.
but they shrug because in most cases they can try to fly to the side away from it. But to be honest, a rock is far faster than a griffin.
Yes. It's the sort of thing that the tribesmen will attempt to call out in Elvish. Can you see he speaks Elvish?
I think
that
you do.
Old, like they say. But he'll be encouraging the elves to, hey, make sure you calm the griffins. Yeah, so I do have elf amongst my languages, so he'll be able to do that, but recognising that they don't really listen to the humans. Yeah, they listen to him because he talks in Griffin.
Basically, we want to communicate.
I totally grasp. Sorry, Kelsey. So, go ahead.
I'm sorry?
What was that
You
clear?
can go ahead.
I was just going to say, definitely want to remind them of our previous help, our mission, and that the Griffins are our allies at the moment.
Okay.
And we.
I don't think it's from fun. I think it's coming to help us.
Yeah,
I regret not having spending right now.
So,
To talk with our words.
that makes you think, we know that the rocks are here to help us, but the griffins might not know.
So Jeremy was saying if one of the elves could explain to the
Just-
griffins that the rocks are on our side.
At least just tell them to stay calm, stay like a.
Can you yellow elves?
That would be an
Yellow
animal.
elves do that. Oh,
Hmm?
Animal
Ethan,
Animal handling.
above everyone.
I'm an author, but I don't speak elf.
I do too, but does
So what are we up to? I just got back.
Narayan?
So they were trying to calm the griffins down, except unfortunately both elves flew up to the rock, so they're not in any position to calm the griffins down.
So it would be up to you.
Oh.
So it's up to Ariadna.
Yes. Ariadna would have to.
Yep.
I'm not going to have party members redo their actions, so you both chose to fly up to the rock, which
Yeah.
means you did separate the elves from the flight of griffins.
I tell the griffins that the rocks are an ally able to help us achieve getting revenge and getting the key back, and they're not in competition for that key. They just want to
Yeah.
help.
I was gonna say, remember the griffins are animal intelligence.
They
so you're
can
not
effectively
allowed.
understand
Yeah.
the sorts of
Yeah.
commands you would give a dog.
So like,
So it's more a case of stay calm,
yeah,
settle.
Yeah, it's kind of the equivalent
Kind of
of
voice thing.
of
rock
like
friend.
Yeah, like
you know.
basically like
So
Calm
you
down,
get to make a
calm down.
d20 roll with advantage, but you get to add +1 to the roll.
yay.
I'm gonna go for the hard to read one because it hasn't ashamed me today. It's gonna ashame me. I'm pretty sure that's 6, 8, or 2. If it's got a little cross below it, that's a 6, right?
I believe so, yes.
Below
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Damn
So
it.
that'd be 7.
Yeah. So
You got to roll two 20s and take the best.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so roll again.
Seriously considering going to different dice.
Let's see.
That's
That's a 10, so 11.
yeah.
11. Okay, so better than a 7.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So yes, the griffins seem to tighten up around the gnome, who's providing the comforting words in Elvish, even though they don't really believe the gnome's an elf, but hey, close enough.
I'm not human.
It's half an elf. A third of one.
And hopefully, despite the fact that the tribesman is human, he's the one that was at least talking to them in their own language on occasionally. So he's also attempting to say in elf, calm down, steady, all that kind of stuff. So,
Okay,
but I'm
so
guessing that might be why you got advantage.
Yeah.
I'll give Jeremy a basic roll for
Oh, okay.
animal handling.
Animal handling.
Mhm.
16 plus 7 is 23.
So apparently, not only was the soothing words of the gnome inserting words boom and explode, kill humans, that sort of thing into the conversation, you had the tribesmen actually saying yes we should move together and them all basically moving towards the sound of violence against humans.
Hopefully not the ones you're riding on. Or they're riding you.
I'm really hoping my white dragon can charge up my next D20. No, there's like 3 in the dice gel already.
Yeah, there are.
We need to take a photo of that and send it to Stefan because he's the one that made it.
Exactly.
Well, I do have one that doesn't have a d20, a 20 on the d20, if you'd like to roll that one instead.
No.
That way you don't have to worry about ever rolling a natural 20 again.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just reminding myself right now that you love me and that this is just to cheer me up.
I do have one with 2 20s on it.
No.
That would be
Actually,
nice.
should come up 1 in 20 rolls.
Except on the dice where they replaced the 20 for 1, so it will never come up on that dice.
That's right.
The
So
cursed
it's got
dice.
2 1?
Yeah, it's got 2 1s.
Yes. As opposed to the other dice that's got 2 20s and no ones.
No, it's got 2 1s on that one as well.
Oh, it's got 2 20s and 2 1s.
Yep, so you double the chance of getting a natural 20 and you double the chance of getting a
Right,
critical
okay.
failure.
At this
Come on,
point,
stream dice.
at this point, I would thank you for this option, and then remind you I brought you pizza just now, and say I don't really want that option.
Okay. So yes, you watch as the eagle of unusual size, the rock, starts to get in front of your griffins and continue on, leaving you feeling like you're standing still.
Yeah. And I bet it didn't
My
even.
question is-
I bet it didn't even beat its wings. It was just.
Yeah, it was just gliding.
Just
Who
gliding.
organized this? How come, like, all these people are coming and aiding us, which I'm very thankful for, but, who told them we're coming? Must have been the pixies.
We
Someone
met
is
the rock in
uh,
a couple of games back.
Well, he was actually in
We
the
did tell
fall
you.
section, and we're currently in the summer section. So he must have heard from his magical
Friends.
his magical friends around the forest, and or with the new
Hearing
thing-
aid.
Hearing aid. He must have heard all the way into the summer section.
Yeah. Because they had very good hearing.
I'm just surprised.
Hmm.
Not because of that. Is that how would we know that we are going to attack them at this precise moment?
I would put it this way. They were flying above us with rocks in their feet and not getting any closer or dropping those rocks. So,
We were followed.
So
Okay.
it's also not unlikely
Oh,
that they don't do that on a regular basis themselves.
Yeah.
100 griffins is hard to miss.
Hmm.
It would have been easy for them to see us and follow us.
yeah.
Don't say hard to miss when there's rocks flying overhead with rocks.
Yeah, that's good advice, actually.
So
The thing, if they had dropped the rocks, they'd have hit griffins.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to miss a griffin.
and like
Yeah, they're
keep
big
in
as
mind,
rocks.
they do have eagle eye vision
Yep.
for their size, so they could
That's
see
true.
for many
Miles,
many
yeah.
miles around.
That's
So
true
different.
as well.
Okay.
Oh, I'm glad I had
So you watch it start pulling ahead of you as the ones on the other side of the mountain seems to get closer as well.
Oh, I hope this is not for a bad cause.
Is it the baby?
The baby rocks that we helped feed.
Cool.
How many of the other rocks can we discern?
You discern 12.
12.
Yep.
Would I remember how many eggs were in the nest when I was in there? 5.
5.
So if we got 5 of those, even if they had.
They're too big to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Unhatched.
And
So
the other
yeah.
ones had hatched, and
These
the
has to be
hatchlings were the
other
size of
rocks.
horses.
Yeah.
So the other hatchlings were the size of a large creature.
Yeah. So this is definitely more than one family coming.
Or it is the extended family.
Oh,
Well, yeah.
consider the whole population.
Yeah.
Call me
Family
out.
always sticks together.
Okay, so you do hear the sound of chanting in front of you coming from the elderly rock. So you can make a Arcana roll or a.
Actually, real good. Look at that. I got a modified 20.
You know, modified 20.
I didn't critically fail. But
So what did
another
you-
dice is going to
You
jail.
failed. What do you get closer?
I got a 2.
You got a natural one. Okay, so before I describe what's happening, what do you tell the party's happening? That for Clarissa,
Oh,
because she got the one, she gets to make it up. She's so excited, she blurts out what's happening.
Throwing a party. That is what I think is happening.
It's getting hot in here.
Dangerous.
Okay.
Yep. Gangnam Style?
Yeah.
And it seems to match what's happening. You see bits of light start to flash all over the rock.
Oh, okay. Yep.
With my modified 20, am I able to tell what's going on? I'm not a magic user.
You don't think he's actually, casting some sort of party? You've never heard of party magic before?
Yeah.
Could be a disco ball, though.
It looks pretty.
Okay, so it's casting lights and stuff.
Can you please just see if I understood right? The light is coming from the mountain?
No, coming
the
from...
camp or the mountain?
It's coming from the rock, the bird of unusual size.
Yeah.
And...
The rock about to cast, there is a chanting and light. Okay.
So it starts chanting, and its chanting is not quiet because, well, you can hear it for probably about 20 odd miles away.
Yeah, probably.
Oh my god.
That they do have quite a loud voice. And you pick up more than one voice making the same sort of words.
So the other rocks
Rocks
are
are
chanting
knowing the word as well. Is it more like a warrior song or a spell?
Hard to tell. It might not be any difference to them.
Okay, alright.
Mm.
Hopefully
You know what
they're...
it's cool? It's almost like all these other magical creatures we lived here before. Don't want all these different reasons to come and do some of the messed up things that the other ones did in the past.
And then you see what appears to be bolts of lightning arc between its feathers.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty good.
As it makes for a dive bomb at the camp.
Nice. I
And
am
you
exuberantly excited.
You see 13 points of light dashing towards the camp.
Okay. How far away are we and all the rocks still from the camp at the present time?
So the rocks would be probably about half a mile, or you'd be a mile.
Okay, right. So, are we seeing a reaction from the camp as a flight of many, many griffins and then effectively much bigger flight of rocks started coming towards them?
You see
Have they seen red smoke yet?
You see 3 wyverns start to rise up from the campsite, as well as red smoke from the camp.
If I was a bard right now, I would be playing Thunderstruck.
Yay!
As you see, basically bolts of lightning get dropped by each of the rocks towards the camp.
Hell yeah.
As the boulders they're dropping are basically dropping as a lightning bolt.
Cool.
Seriously, I hope I don't have to do more than 2 more dice rolls, because that's going to be it of my D20s in my collection. And the shameful thing about that is when people saw me buy the obsidian set and the metal set, that's all the dice you're ever going to need.
No.
I would argue differently.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You can try these dice. The dice that are guaranteed
No.
to roll more ones than yours.
No. I'm good.
It's only my
No.
dice of shame pile.
No, you're just going to be satisfied that if PAX runs this year, I'm buying more dice.
I could also lend you these dice which haven't been used yet.
Are they
So they're all not
messed in
jinxed?
some way? Ooh. Are they all D20s?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And they got dragons on them too. When
Oh,
you
I'll
roll a 20, you roll a dragon.
I will take you up on that. I'll have the
Oh, that's
spare
it.
ones.
I think. Is it the set? No, it's my other set. It's a unicorn.
So each you can get different ones that have different things on them.
That's pretty cool.
So yes, you see big rocks fall from the rocks
Haha.
as huge bolts hitting the ground and rolling, and every bounce or two a burst of lightning flares out from them.
I like that boulder. That's a nice boulder.
And you're thinking you wouldn't want to be anywhere near that as you watch these boulders bigger than the walls outside the encampment just go straight through the wall. Apparently they weren't designed for that sort of thing, and then the rocks just turn and fly away at that point, having done their job.
Yep.
As you see 13 large
Nice.
holes in their emplacement
Nice.
as you get closer, you do see various areas where the walls have been repaired recently.
Oh, okay.
So
Does
So
this
the walls have
indicate
been
that
doing
somebody
for,
else has
for
been?
ages. Probably just being coming and going, dropping stuff on them. That would be nice.
So do we think that this is
A common.
a common attack by the rocks?
they might do about once every couple of months, maybe.
Okay.
They would pick their times when something's at the weakest.
Yeah. And having griffins and elf people and pixies working together to get rid of these guys, they
And
probably
They will quite clearly see the red smoke coming
Yep.
out.
they
take advantage
take
of
advantage
the-
of that attack.
Yep.
Do you need anything else?
Do you think we
Another
could
drink would be good.
divide the forces and send most of our griffins to distract the encampment, while some of us go actually to the golem to try to figure out if we can get that key?
No, I think we really need to focus on the fort right
Exactly.
now altogether.
The golem's not going anywhere. We can come back for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll go back that way apparently because we've also got to go back to see the centaurs.
Yep.
So yes, as you're coming down, you see basically big swathes of the place has been destroyed by these boulders that shrunk every 40 feet. It moved into the encampment as it was sending shards of rock and lightning as it exploded its way through the camps.
So, did any of the wyverns manage to take off?
Yes, 3 did, and that they seem to be confused as to which way to go because the rocks have all taken off in different directions just to toy with them further. So by the time the wyvern got into the air, the rocks were already on their way out, and they fly faster.
Yep. Well, and obviously so they're probably going to be seeing the swarm of griffins start to come following up on the rocks.
Yeah.
Okay. Certainly, if anything comes within range that's not a griffin and not a rock of the tribesman's bow, then we'll start shooting. So,
Get bowed.
Is the fridge finish off that one, then get you this one? Or
Bring that
opposite?
one over.
Bring that
I'll
one?
finish that one pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you realize the wyverns have seen you, one flies north, one flies south, and one turns and flies back over the mountains.
I think we should destroy the messengers who are going north and south first.
So,
So they're gonna go out?
attack and left, Mark?
There are no wyverns left. You don't
Oh.
think the riders are suicidal enough to take on a flight of griffins
Yeah, let's
with
make
riders.
I think we should take those 2 flyers who went north and south because they could actually get reinforcements. Most of their riders, like 20 of them, actually went south before,
Yeah, but it'll take
so
them
they could
more
actually
than
come with.
it'll take them more than an hour for those reinforcements to get here. If we're done by the time they get here, it's not a problem.
but also considering the fact that the effects of the rock attack,
Right.
I believe that they're going to be somewhat demoralised anyway. Now, the main point is that we probably can't talk to each other while we're flying these griffins effectively.
Well,
So, if Nari were to direct or aim to direct 10 griffins to go off and chase one, or the other way, whatever type of stuff,
It would
then
be her prerogative.
that's right, and it could look like we're going to stop, we'd be able to stop, and it probably wouldn't affect us too much because of the numbers we've got and they've already been affected.
I would like to go and try to stop the one that goes south because I feel like we don't want that to surprise us.
Yeah,
Okay.
but like the point is, are you aiming to fly there yourself, or are you just going to send griffins in that direction?
Because you could
Okay.
in Elvish tell 10 griffins to attack that wyvern, or you can lead the attack
Okay.
yourself.
I think I want a person from the party. I'm tempted to go, okay? But I'm actually going to ask the people to go and actually, how far is the South Wyvern rider from us?
He would be, at the time he started flying away from you, about 500 feet.
Okay. Okay. So I would tell him, I would tell like all of those riders to go after and make sure the guy goes like the rider needs to go down to the ground. Don't have to repeat, but he needs to not reach the.
Well, Martin.
Yep.
Okay, certainly, yeah, you can make that. But yeah, the tribesman's got a range of 660 feet on his bow.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd be aiming to take a shot at about that 600
Find
or
it's better if I
500
break
feet
it
like
up
that.
into 3 small pieces and eat the whole block.
Aiming for the rider rather than the wyvern. If you had that, like, obviously it's going to be a long shot anyway. But yeah, he'll start shooting at the rider closest that's kind of on away as his first target anyway. So I'm guessing that despite the fact that I'm not actually moving, I can't really use steady aim.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Pretty much.
Oh, dang, I
After
had my
that-
trident ready. I should have my longbow.
Because you're sort of self-bracing with it. You can't on beastback.
Exactly that. I did assume that was the case. But I didn't want to define myself if it wasn't the case. So, so I will take a shot at him.
If you're flying off your own bat, like with a ring of flying or something
Yeah.
like that,
And I stay still, if I can. Yes, that can work. Yeah.
but not with something else. Anyway, back in a sec.
But yeah, so
You wouldn't have kept your
AC
longbow on you.
23.
I had my trident ready.
AC 23.
That's always my
Okay, you
favourite.
see your
But
arrow
you could
flying
put
hit
it
its
away
mark.
and pull out your bow. Might take you an action, but
Yeah, that's
So I missed the end of that. It went fly and what?
And hit its mark. So yes,
Okay.
you can pull out your bow and shoot.
Yeah, if I could,
There's no reason why you wouldn't already have your bow out,
yeah,
because your bow can reach further than your trident can.
yeah. So I'll go ahead and get my longbow
'Cause-
out as well.
Just technically, even if you throw your trident comes back to you after 60 feet.
Yeah.
So you can't throw it at the ground
Yeah, I
because
know.
at the end of the round it appears in your hand.
So on longbow the long range is 660. So is that
It's
disadvantage?
disadvantage, yes.
Okay.
Be aware, the standard long range for the longbow is 60. It's 600 something.
16.
16.
Try to-
And a 16 it misses, unfortunately.
Okay,
Bounces off the guy's shield.
fine with me.
Um,
couldn't
but
it
yeah,
have
so-
bounced off the rider's shield and then bounced into a griffin?
Well, there was no griffins near him.
Hopefully, not
Yeah.
a griffin.
We don't want to hit a griffin.
Oh no, not a griffin. Sorry, a wyvern is what I
Okay.
meant.
Yeah.
But yeah, 14 damage from the tribesman shot.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay, so he looks in your direction, and you see a flash of flame and smoke, and the wyvern disappears.
What?
Wow.
hey, I knew I was a good shot. I'm a bit concerned about that effect when after Martin rolled a flashing D20, but I'm willing to claim it. Right, okay. Next round, if the other one's within 600 odd feet, you'll take a shot at that one too, but...
Okay, so one of them still remains, but the other one has flown out of your range of effect.
Yeah, accountable.
So the one heading north is now out of your range of effect.
Yeah.
Really should have picked up that particular invocation that adds extra range to my zap.
Yeah. Oh.
I can see what I can hit anything I can see. Magic Missile is one of the most powerful spells in the older editions of the games.
Mm.
If you can
Oh,
see
yes.
it, you can hit it.
Oh, that makes sense to the meme that I
And
read earlier.
and it
Because
had
it was about a
100
thing
foot plus
about
range.
magic missile wands and all that stuff.
And if you gave, say, a soldier in ranks each a wanded magic missile, and the first thing they do when the things attack is attack the guy in front of them, then you can have basically an entire army of people taken out as a charge.
We're using a
Spiriting.
500 GP wand.
Crazy.
No, 125, isn't it?
Yeah,
Cheap.
it
Depends what edition you play.
depends if you give them the cost of a wand that has only one charge in it, which is also doable in the older editions of the game.
True.
And those can be the equivalent of, okay, I've given you the cost of a healing potion
Yeah.
for this one shot that you pull at the start of combat, and by the time the enemy reaches you, they can't use it against you. So yes, Jeremy, your second round of shooting with we also have our other archer able to have another shot.
Yeah, so do we want to shoot at the same time?
Well, there's only one target, so you can both shoot at it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't
My-
do it.
My dice like 16s tonight, so number 23.
Okay, so yes, you watch as your tribesman manages to hit another one at over 600 feet, or around 600 feet.
And this time he does good damage and gets 8, 12, 16 points of damage.
Okay, so I'm going to say this one was actually flat-footed to you because he wasn't expecting to be hit.
Oh, okay.
I'm happy to add your sneak attack to the damage.
For another 10 points of damage.
So how much was that all up?
26.
Total of 26.
26. Okay, so he actually falls off the griffin.
Cool.
Not the griffin, the wyvern. Now I'm saying calling him griffins.
It's because they end in N.
It's so, yeah, it's the...
Y, griff, and it's the N and N.
Yeah, and they're both flying creatures, so it's just like...
It's like the rock with the rock.
Yeah, rock, yeah.
And yeah, so he falls off, and you see that griffin just start taking off. As he drops probably about 400 or 500 feet in the air.
He splats.
Cool.
I was going to say, did you say some of the griffins caught him and had him for lunch?
No, he was falling on the other. He's the one
He
who's
was pretty
taking
far.
off away from them towards the mountains.
Yeah.
Whereas the one to the south had been hit and then disappeared in a flame of a big puff of fire and smoke.
Yeah.
The
No.
one to the
Either way.
north got out of range.
Yeah,
and the one
that's what I was
heading,
trying to figure if it was the out of range one.
But the one going north...
the one heading
where
west was the one you both shot at. The one heading towards
Yeah.
the mountains.
Yeah, and then the one that's going north is going towards the same place that the three... that were
30
that
odd
were
griffins
attacked
are
by
there.
the 30. Yeah.
So
they're
he
heading...
might fly right into a group of griffins anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So-
yes.
But more importantly, what else is happening in the fort?
As you-
I expect they're probably start going to coming into their bow range, potentially, if we're not flying high enough.
As you can see, they seem to be heading towards the walls where they can, and you can see the remains of what look to be ballista inside the encampment.
Mm-hmm.
They had about 4 of them a few minutes ago.
Oh,
So
Well, we attacked at the right time then. Somehow the ballistic are no longer functioning. That's great.
so did you
Someone had pushed a boulder through them.
mm-hmm.
so did you say the sentry numbers had dropped?
Yep. And
There's less wall for them to stand on to start with.
By how many did you say?
you're not sure?
Okay. There was still
you-
4 remaining.
You can see. Oh no, they had 4 ballista that have been destroyed that you can see.
Okay, yeah.
You can see the fire giant stands out as he pulls out a flaming sword, standing above most of the others around him. As the hellhounds also light up,
How many?
you can see 13 happy fires,
Mm-hmm.
one being a sword.
Theoretically, would I be able to make a bomb of happy like me puppy? So that if it bombed and the dust got on them, suddenly I'm their best friend and they'll do anything I say?
You don't know how to do those yet?
Okay, alright.
You'll probably learn how to do those.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
Can I do a bomb of off
With a ball of tar.
stink so horrible that they don't want to be in the area?
Spicy puppy.
Possibly, but they are some such things like that can be burnt away with flame.
Okay.
A lot of those things are flammable, and these creatures don't care about flame.
Yeah.
But the other factor is how many defenders apparently have ranged weapons at the moment?
Well, me, I'm on a Gryphon. I can draw points.
Defenders.
Yeah, we're
Right. We're the attackers.
Yeah, you are the attackers.
I'm just thinking we're the good guys, therefore.
Yeah, the good guys never attack, that's right.
You see what appears to be about 20 near the center of camp, with longbows ready and pointing up.
Well, they're my next targets then. Is taking out ranged weapons.
Two of them, their bows are quite bright from this distance.
Whoa.
Sound like lit up targets, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, magical.
And they are basically loosing on the closest griffins, which aren't you guys, because you weren't at the front. Basically, you slow them down.
So did you say these were guys on wyverns or guys from the ground?
These are guys from the ground firing up at the griffins coming
Yep.
in first. As you see streaks of flame flying from one of the bowmen straight through a griffin and basically hitting the one behind it by skewering the one in front.
What? How far are we from those people firing?
You would be about 600 feet. The griffins they hit would be about 500 feet.
There were some young, eager ones that leapt into the fight and got down a bit low.
Yeah, the other guy.
And then the archer rolled a natural 20, so...
And the other archer...
The other one's not so bad either.
managed to... you see what appears to be a lightning bolt fly from his bow into the other griffin, and the griffin just locks up and just tumbles to the ground.
We really need that loot.
So, certainly for the griffins that can hear me, I will try to be saying, stay high.
Yeah, tell
Up.
yeah, and then stay high and let loose their rock.
Okay, so they start the climb in a hail of other arrows coming from the encampment.
Yep.
The other guys don't have the bonuses, so...
I was going to say, is it wrong that every time I try and write down Jeremy's character's name, I try to start writing Dimitri?
The one game you're not in with him and you're writing that name, that is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's perfectly appropriate. Dimitri's influence spreads everywhere.
Yeah.
He is the longest running still in-game character.
He
That's
is.
funny.
Because he's the one who started the campaign that you're currently all in.
Gotcha.
Back in, I think, 2016.
Wow.
So yes, you see a whole bunch of arrows come flying your way, but most of them falling short. And one of the archers on the ground falling over with an arrow in the back of his head.
Could we be suspecting some pixies here?
No, he
Just a bad shot.
one of the guys rolled a natural 1.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, shoot up!
Did he get himself in the head or
No,
someone else?
one of his
Somebody
friends.
behind him. Friendly fire.
I mean, well, the moment one, he actually shot up in the right direction, but didn't hit anything, came back down again.
That is what happens when you shoot up into the air.
Oh, I was going to say, do you know that's legit where people fire
Oh, yeah.
firearms up into the air? The amount of murders and manslaughters and attempted
It's-
murders
and
is just
Accidental
insane.
suicides, yeah.
It has happened with arrows. Just not half as often. Because you wouldn't do that as a celebration thing much.
People
Yes.
don't get drunk and have that in their hands in their lounge room.
It's when the unskilled fire into a wind that's blowing their way, and the arrow comes back towards them.
We know that.
So yes,
That happens, so we're lucky.
The Griffins have now climbed to about the 600-700 foot mark and start dropping rocks from up there. So their rocks aren't quite as big and as devastating, but you are watching whatever it hits get pulverized.
Well, so yeah, individually their rocks aren't quite as devastating, but when there's 70 of them coming down, or no, probably about 50 of them now,
So you could technically misinterpret this as the rocks dropping other rocks.
Yep.
yes.
And the Griffins joining the fray by dropping their own rocks.
Rocks fall everybody dies.
Yeah, all the rocks.
Yeah,
You never want a rock fall.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So the dance music was perfect in the end because it was rocking, like Jeremy was saying.
Yep.
But yes, tribesman, and his opportunity comes around again. We'll aim to target one of the bright bow wielders, assuming they're still upright after the fall of rocks.
Okay. So yes, the bright bow wielders are still upright. After that, you see them take out about. Only one of the archers gets taken out by the rockfall.
Okay.
But you are seeing most of the buildings around the encampment now have holes in them.
Very nice.
Yep.
And the campfire is pretty much spluttering out, having been pulverized by rocks as well.
Okay.
It's no longer putting up red flame, red smoke.
Is it putting up any smoke?
It's putting up a waft of little, not the pillar of smoke.
But not being a force signal smoke.
So
No longer
is
being a fire signal.
this the one that we're attacking, or one of the ones we wanted attacked?
The one of the ones you're attacking. It's the one
Okay.
you're attacking.
Yeah.
So it's
As
good
in,
news that
the
the
ball
red
is
smoke has
about
died down.
The boulder could be about to fire.
Okay.
By slacking it
So
everywhere.
I guess I'm guessing the tribesman will try to attack one of the bright bows, and
Yep.
I will try to attack the other
Mhm.
one, whichever one he doesn't aim for.
I mean, I'll say so. I think it won't matter too much because I doubt there's going to be one shot, one kill type stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah. The other can I take it my turn again? I will
Yep.
take a shot.
Only two.
One shot, one kill.
Yeah, only two of you have ranged weapons that can hit at that distance well. So what'd you get, Jeremy?
27 upgraded with an extra 20. As I said, maybe it will be one shot, one kill. But unfortunately, I guess I'm probably going to get sneak attack for these guys.
No, they know you're there.
I wouldn't leave those dice alone if I were you.
I need to reroll. It was a 12, but like I messed with it. So I'll just reroll.
16, 32 damage.
32 damage. Okay, so
13.
you think you're right on target with one of them, and completely surprising you, he seems to grab one of the non-bright guys and stick him between you and the arrow.
Okay.
As you watch the arrow go straight into him.
He used one of his fellow
Yeah.
guards to take the bullet for him.
And then throws him to the side.
He's a survivalist, if nothing else.
Okay, well, let's go. What I like to see is the guy who maintains his record. One shot, one kill.
You're not wrong. I rolled 18.
18. Okay, you do hit the other one. He's not as skilled.
So that'll be. Yes. I got 18 damage, the max damage for me.
Okay.
That's a nice hit.
Yeah.
He spins around, hitting the ground, having been hit in the shoulder.
Nice.
And from up there, you can see that Llewell and Nia notice that he transformed into a werewolf.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
Was it a magic
I'm guessing-
arrow?
Is your bow a magical?
Ooh, great question. I don't think it is. I think it is regular, so he won't take the damage, right?
He'll take no damage.
Yeah.
As he pretty much pulls the arrow out and probably starts cursing in your direction.
Probably.
Well, no. He pulls the arrow out and tries to what's the message?
Yeah. what's the message here? Yeah, no, I'm just double checking. I'm pretty sure that is a regular. Yeah, that one's regular.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be surprised if you had a magical bow, because...
Yeah, I was gonna say, I got the magic Titus, so...
Okay, so yes. Then the guy who Jeremy shot at fires up at you guys. Apparently, it falls short.
I'd hope so.
But it does leave a nice red trail in the air as it comes flying up towards you.
He's firing tracer bullets.
Well, I guess we'll have to see if, as a werewolf, if he can still shoot weapons.
Technically they can.
I mean, technically they can.
They can use all weapons.
Okay.
The scariest ones are the werebears with the great axe.
Oh, true.
Because they get to add their wear strength on top of the axe damage.
Yeah, that's
and that is just stupidly painful.
I was gonna say that's probably really powerful.
Just as an example, the lycanthropes in here have weapons in their hands.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, cool.
Okay, so yes, what would the party like to do, considering you're now being kept at bay by a bunch of archers?
Well, are the griffins maintaining altitude after throwing the rocks, or...?
Well, they are, because they haven't been given any other directions yet.
Happy with that. That was it. Confirming that, yep, they're still disciplined enough to be following the last order that was given.
Yeah.
So,
having watched 3 of their numbers taken down with 2 shots,
Yep.
it is enough for them not to do it. And you can see the ones that have fallen have been attacked by hellhounds.
Right,
Oh.
so they're not savable.
The griffins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
has Duke been able to drop any bombs? Noting that normally they'd be out of range, but if you're just going to drop from directly above, you might be able to hit.
Well, that was my plan, but I'm still learning
can-
how that works.
Make a very big boom, I think. You see, look at your big booms. I think you have 3 infusions a day, so you can give one of your grenades 1d6 plus 1d12 force damage.
Mm-hmm.
Good pattern.
Yep. But you can only do that, the extra d12, 3 times per day.
Is that under actions 1 per round?
Yep.
Is that what you're reading from?
Yep. Under actions 1 per round. Under alchemical grenades.
I haven't seen chemical grenades.
It's right under the bonus actions 1 per round.
Oh, here we go. Yep, that's why I haven't seen it.
And I was doing the arcane payload.
Yep. Select this grenade target. You must have been fusion. Yep. Target hit by this. Sounds like a good choice.
But you can also do combustible, which does 2d6 damage, 1d6 force, 1d6 fire, and sets everything within 5 feet of it on fire.
Well, I'm guessing these aren't the happy to be in fire people. They're just the dogs and the giants.
Fire would harm werewolves as well.
Okay, alright. So far as a good thing.
Fire is your friend. Energy attacks still harm a lot of magical creatures.
Yeah, I think.
And you can do as many combustible ones as you like. They don't require anything. Anything special? I'm just dropping a combustible grenade.
Yeah, I think it's a combustible grenade. Can I add the touch of sparkles to this grenade?
You can.
I guess one question with your dropping grenades.
Yep.
Are they explode on contact or they explode after distance?
These ones explode either on contact or the end of her turn, so technically she's got to fly down closer to hit them.
Okay, yeah, so you might be effectively at range for them, but okay, so it's the sort of thing that, by the looks of it, whilst the tribesmen and Lani could potentially take out the non-werewolf archers.
Yep.
Before we landed.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's worth the commencing a ground assault as well.
Yep.
Because she only has 3 of those alchemical grenades she can do per short rest.
So theoretically, I could possibly fly in from an untargeted angle, and when I land, toss bombs at people.
Well, if you get all the griffins to start descending for a ground thing.
Oh, because we're up to a ground thing by now.
Well, or at least they'll be like the griffins potentially doing swoop, flyby attack type stuff.
Yeah.
They're attacking on the ground rather than attacking with range.
Yep.
So.
Okay, so...
But exactly, whether or not you want to try and hold off for long enough for the other archers to get taken out, but I don't see there being a major factor.
Yeah, I would probably go for that because I would like to try and... like, with the group, we don't want this confrontation to take extra long time, so waiting would work against that, and it seems to be a fairly 50-50 chance as to whether I'll get down without being shot or killed, but I figure it's worth it.
So, are the walls of the stockade, or the fortress, or are there towers type stuff, that potentially people that are now still defended, and if not, ones that can potentially be stopped on so that then people like Rook can actually still be somewhat protected by shooting from above down into it?
Yep.
There are quite a few of those, but I might say that we will switch to the ground combat next session.
Okay.
Yep.
As we are at 10:30 tonight, and you have managed to make a fairly hefty assault on the place with the friends you've made.
Yep.
Pretty good.
And basically the reason the rocks got involved was you did befriend the pixies.
Ah, there you go.
It is, yes, making friends with people is very useful. It's what I do.
So we'll finish
Friends
it
with
up
everybody.
with the ground assault planned out.
That'll be fun.
It's gonna be
Always
It's gonna
fun.
be interesting. Should be good.
Considering you
Ended
do
up not
realise you
leaving
need to
you
use
nice.
your magical weapons against
The werewolf.
werewolves, yes.
Yeah. Are they akin to the werewolves that we saw in Francia?
Not the same. Those ones were different. They weren't enhanced by magic
Okay.
because there was no magic there.
There we go.
These guys have the magic that makes things so much worse.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much online, guys. Hope you
you
enjoyed
very
your
much.
chance to do a griffin assault. Even though you weren't actually assaulting the griffins, you were assaulting with the griffins.
That's somewhat interesting. Yeah.
And the reason things did go your way that way was because you went out of your way to appease the rocks. And you may get more appeasement from them if you do other services for them.
Yes.
As in, you might be able to call them for assistance instead of them choosing to assist you.
Yes.
I mean, that's the sort of thing that if they're potentially around, hey, maybe it is worth trying to take out all 11 fortresses in due course. So,
Well, we certainly can, which will help everybody because
I
they lose
think-
humans.
That was really great playing with everyone again. Thank you.
Yeah.
I managed to catch up on the blog and some of the things you said about what has been happening. And I discussed with Martin some more later to update my character before the next session.
That
Perfect.
sounds good.
It was awesome playing with you again. So definitely look forward if you're able to join more.
And handy for them to get that one little bit of information they couldn't have gotten from another character.
And just remember, if you're updating the character, if you randomly go with a few area effect making spells, hey!
I actually want to check my, because I had chosen some spells from the Mystara book. Spell book.
Right.
So I have to recheck those. And I also have some features that maybe next time after this fight I'm going to use. Like there's a reason for me to use them that could get us a bit more information about what is happening.
Cool.
All good.
All good. So thank you guys. Have a good night, and I'll see you all in a fortnight.
Shall do. Thanks
Good
for
night.
see you tomorrow and or next week, some people,
Yep.
and definitely in a fortnight's time.
Yep.
Have a good night, all.
Good nighty.
Good night.
Good night. Bye. Great game.
Thank you.
Yes.
I thought so.
Okay, so I actually.